Hi, welcome to Monday Night Toy Ramblings. I'm your host, Lawrence, Larry, Punk. Can't say the bad words till we get past a little bit of time till we can monetize. You guys know who I am, right? Because you guys tuned in. There's 17 of you guys here. Hit that like button right away. We'll just get into that. The best way to support the channel, just hit that like button. Tell YouTube, tell everyone, hey, you know what? This is where you're supposed to be Monday night if you like toys or you're just, I don't know, you just hate yourself. Anyway, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone had a great weekend. I gotta say, I had a pretty good one. Well, can't say I had a good one. I had an interesting one, as always. Some of you may know, I think Ken knows, and Matthew's only a couple of you. Saturday, I decided that I was gonna go grocery shopping, as many of us do, and sure enough, after I went to, as I was leaving Aldi, boom, battery in the car was completely dead. It's like 6 degrees out. Contact AAA, which you pay, I don't know, like $100 a year for their membership. It's like 11:30 in the morning. They say they won't be there till like 4:30. End up calling my dad to come give me a jump my car, take it up to Walmart, because where my battery is on my car, it's underneath the wheel well. So every other place wants to charge you labor. Walmart does it for free. Go up to the one by my house, and they're like, yeah, we don't have that battery. Tells me where the closest one is. I drive out to that one. The drive's not a big deal. Drive out there, go in there. Old guy. I'm like, hey, how long is it going to take? He's like, I don't know. I got like 3 people ahead of you, maybe an hour and a half. All right, no big deal. Walk around a little bit. Don't find any toys I want. Sit down on Subway. Come back like 2 hours later. Hey, how's it going? Man, I don't know if it's going to be ready yet. If it's going to be ready today. Really? Like, yeah, should I just call someone? Yeah, okay. Why couldn't you tell me this to begin with? I don't care that I had to leave my car. I have a work vehicle that I can drive. Totally ruined my day because I spent many hours there rather than doing stuff that I needed to do. So anyway, as it all comes down to, I blame Ohio. I drove my car too many times through Ohio in 2023, and it's rebelling. So Ed, good luck moving there. I know you postponed it so far, and that's probably the best thing. You should probably continue to think about postponing it. So anyway, that's a little bit about my car. The adventures of Punk's journey. So anyway, let's see how everyone's doing. Anyway, as I already mentioned. So I want to say thank you to Ed. He had me on his show along with Payne, and God, there was someone else on there. Travis was on there. Not a toy kind of mood, Travis, Mr. Wonderful. He was on Wednesday. He just hit me up, and what was supposed to be a nice early night for me ended up me being, I think we went live till after 1, and then I think Ed and I talked till after 2. I don't know why I do this to myself. And then I have to give a big shout out to Toy Connections, Ken, hitting 5,000 subscribers. That is where I want to hit by the end of the year. He had me on his stream along with Oz. Thank you very much. Roman just fell coming up the stairs. It's been an issue for him. I don't know if there's something wrong with him or what. But anyway, you okay, buddy? Want to say hi to everyone? Want to say hi right away? Okay. Say hi. Right there. Look, say hi to everyone. You okay, buddy? All right. Right there. Anyway, congratulations to Ken hitting 5,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to Ken's channel yet, I don't know why I'm giving someone who has so many more subscribers than me maybe a little bit more attention, but you know what? Get over there, subscribe to Toy Connections. It is a really good channel. Not as good as this one, but I mean, you guys know that. Whew. Anyway, got no pickups this week. I don't have no pickups coming in next week. It looks like a very slow week. So, anyway, let's get to the chat because there's already been a bunch of people going at it right away. So, Thousand Wolves, who came in way early. He's already talking about some of the 90s figures. We got Black Genghis leaving a like and representing the Replay Gang and Visionaries, Knights of Magical Ed. I can tell you I don't have that on here because I know nothing about Visionaries. I don't even remember it. But I do want to say this. The people that are always representing the Replay Gang, the Replay crew, I have thank you, because the fact that I try to make this show so you can just turn it on and watch the replay or show. I say just listen to the replay. That's what I want, and I love that people are still watching it after when it's not live. We got Poncho Studios here. Shark Eyes is here. Eternia Ellipse. I always say Eternia Eclipse. And even though we talked about it, that's how I figured out it's Eternia Ellipse. We got Down South 77. Speaking Moistly is here. Action Figs Ed, one of the moderators here. We got Liquid Identity here. I do not know how Jay from Geek Dad Life does this so damn fast. We got Payne's Toy Samples here. We got Eric Thurman is in the house. We got Matthew Matson, the first moderator, and what they say goes, but we have a pretty good crew here, so we don't have to really worry about it. We have a Viper Scout is in the house. Hey, Lawrence, I know you are not a Lions fan, but you got to be happy they won two playoff games in a row. Honestly, God, dude, like I'm thrilled for the city. I'm thrilled for these fans. And I'm not a Lion fan. I gave up being a Lions fan a long time ago, and I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I would love to see them. I told Tony earlier, if this city won a Super Bowl, it would blow away any championship of any team ever. And the reason why I say that is you have teams like the Cubs and the Red Sox who waited a long time, but they had actually made it there. The fans of this pathetic organization have suffered for so long. And when you would tell people they've won one playoff game since 1957, people would argue with you because they just assumed that you won more. So I am really happy. A lot of the guys I work with had playoff tickets, support them, and we've always made jokes and ragged on them. But we got Fatrid in the house, and that's right. More and more people are referring to him as a Fatrid, which I absolutely love. Eventually, he's going to drop that FU off his name altogether. We got Woody 222. We got Noom 842. Good evening, everyone. Yes, hit that like button. Yes, please. Thank you very much. It's free, so there's no reason not to. We got Carol, who is in the house, and once again, she is in before her brother, who has me on all the time, but he can't even find a way to get here at 9 o'clock. But I'm not really punctual on his show either. So we got Johnny Reno is in the house, probably the best customizer in Arizona, if you didn't know. We got Shane is in the house. It is Brayla, right? I think I must have said that right. We got Cobb Web Collector. If you didn't see last Thursday's show with him, check it out. Very interesting, very good. And he was scared. He was honestly worried that he was going to be the first one that I had to pull teeth out of to get him to talk. But he did a wonderful job. Wonderful channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, get over there and subscribe because he's really close to hitting 1,000 so he can get fully monetized. And you guys don't realize that little bit of extra money that we do get does help support everything that we're doing. And here we have Ken Toy Connections. Best toy line of the 90s was Power Rangers, right? You know what? Again, 90s is not my thing because I kind of got into collecting at that point. Power of the Force and different things like that. That's why I said I'm going to need your guys' help for this. But I will say that might be on the slides that I did end up doing. And also, like I said, thank you very much for having me on. It was absolutely wonderful. First time I was on there, and Action Figs. I think you were the first one with a Damn It, Larry, that came right in. Okay. We got Aaron the Toy Enhancer. Hey guys, hi Punk. Sorry about the car trouble. Stupid Ohio. Exactly. Ohio is always the bane of my existence. And again, normally I don't have to go through there too often. Just going through here. Oh, we got Cobra Commander, which can Iron. You almost tricked me. I can't say that name. You almost tricked me, Cobra Commander. Oh, you sneaky little bastard. Oh no, which Ken? It was Toy Connections Ken. You son of a bitch. You tried to get me to say that, and then all hell would have broken loose and shit. We got Clinton Jorgensen is in the house. Noom says do an updated Spiral Zone toy line. I don't remember that at all. I think there's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of lines, a lot of figures, a lot of toys that I don't remember. There weren't a lot of action figures. I'm gonna be honest; it was hard to find stuff. We got Tony Figs. He's rooting for the Lions. It's hard not to root for him, man. Especially when you look at the other teams that are in there. I mean, yeah, I live in Detroit, but when you look at all the other teams that are in there, when you see how pathetic the organization is, and I'll tell you what, we always say that a coach becomes lionized at some point, and I said with Dan Campbell, he was the fastest lionized coach ever. He got up there, did a speech about biting kneecaps and stuff, but man, did those players just eat it up, and they just jumped into it, and they will run through a brick wall for that guy. Mr. Popinski, who I do not see in here enough, although I do talk to him a good amount. So, Speaking Moisty says, was crazy when Raptors won the NBA championship. Well, that's because Canada hasn't seen a Stanley Cup since 1993. They've won a World Series since then and an NBA championship. Sorry, guys. Sorry to all my Canadian friends. I don't have any Canadian friends. I'm kidding. It makes me laugh that their championship, which is the Stanley Cup, they have won a World Series since then, since the last time, and an NBA championship. If they got an NFL team, they'd probably win that too first. We got Jer Bear Man Cave here. If the classified did dress uniforms for each character, would you get them? We discussed that. I think that it would be an awesome idea if they did a like a 4-pack at San Diego Comic-Con, something like that, where they have every single branch in their dress uniforms. Do I want a gung ho in his Marines blues? No, I don't. That was one of the figures I didn't even want as a kid. But if you gave me all the branches where we could swap heads and you could actually build, like, if you want to do like a funeral scene or something like that, I think it'd be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen because, well, they won't pay the licensing fee for the Marine symbol for Gung Ho, so I can't see them doing that for the dress blues. Derek Holloman is here. We got Alex Martinez. I think I said that right. Martinez. Hard to get that one wrong, right? All right, so many other people here right now. We got Largo's Lair. Hey, Largo, you need to answer me about next Thursday, if you're going to be available to do Thursday with a friend, because you are up. DJ 5-Ash. I got it right. I was almost going to say Feevish. DJ 5-Ash. All right, let's see here. So this one, it gets like, oh my God, this guy's still going on and on and on and on. Just seeing if there's anything good going on, any good conversation here. All right, we're to the end. Thank you guys all for bearing through that. Again, this is how we have to wake up for 3+ hours. All right, so this Thursday, Matthew and I on Thursday Movie Flashback will be discussing Predator. Possibly. I have not rewatched the movie again. I haven't done notes, which obviously I have not done slides. I am hoping to get home tomorrow, watch it, get the notes, maybe get the slides. I fear I'm going to end up spending 2 days completely on it, which kind of worries the hell out of me, because I really only have so much time. So as of right now, the plan is this Thursday to talk about Predator, break down the movie, talk about it. If you guys were wondering why those movies were up there, well, it all comes down to, we did a whole show about the best movies with wrestlers in it. Hold on, we're gonna do something really quick. You want to hear some excitement? Olivia, can you come here? That's the reason why I see Predator out there. Okay, so Liv, can you come here? Can you come here? Hold on, you're gonna hear some some excitement in just a second. But yeah, so that's the reason why we're gonna see it. I'm live right now. You don't have school tomorrow.
Oh my god, mommy's calling me!
Yeah, tell your mom I'm on a stream, so I can't talk. Get out of here. Don't put her on speakerphone.
Mama.
Anyway.
I heard I had no school tomorrow.
Get out. I'm out. I guess this is my partner today.
Wait. Don't worry, I'll come back, Dad.
Oh, I can't wait. She'll be back. So anyway, I was actually going to have her do something else, but then her mother called me first, then called her. Anyway, we're still doing May Power of the Force. So we are still looking for people to review the Power of the Force figures from the 95, 96, 97 line. You know which ones I'm talking about. The big, beefy, muscular Star Wars figures. So if you're interested in picking one up, or if you have one, doing a review of a 95 figure, send me a message either to punkwithtoys@gmail.com or send me, just message me on Instagram. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Anyway, and then the last story that I have, is, actually, Tony was on the phone with me, so Tony will know the excitement. I come home, I let Roman out. It's all snowy out. It's dark. Got a big backyard. And Roman is at the back, and he is barking. And I can see a shadow, and I can't tell if it's a tree that was knocked down, because there's some trees there or whatever. But it kind of looks like a silhouette of an animal. And we do have coyotes. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't a coyote, right? And I see it, and then I start seeing it move. And it looks way too big to be a cat. Now, I got a lot of stray cats, but this thing looked big. And my daughter says, is that a panther? No, it's not a panther. Well, they're cats. I'm like, damn it, you're the smart one here?
Oh my god, the panther?
Yes, the panther.
Oh, panther.
Yes.
You want to buy it?
No, I don't, because I'm doing a show and I don't eat it.
But you drink?
You got to keep your mouth wet. So she thought that Roman might be barking at a panther here in suburban Detroit. Well, you know, panthers are just running wild, and you know, my buddy's customs. Maybe it was a saber-toothed tiger. It could have been with the snow and the ice that we have. You know what? Tony didn't know who the Michigan Panthers were. I tried explaining it to him. I'm assuming Tony must be saving a life right now because he hasn't chimed in on this. Yes, I went to the Michigan Panthers, so the last professional football team in this state to win a championship. All right.
What are the Panthers?
They're an AFL. What are they? I forget what they are. They were professional football. It's a long story. Go. Bye. Love you. So no school tomorrow.
I have homework.
Oh, well, you know
I'll
what?
do that tomorrow.
Yeah, you need to get stuff. Did your mom want anything from me?
No.
Since everyone knows, okay. Bye. Love you. I'll talk to you when we're done.
Bye, love you.
All right. I'm sure she'll be in 1 or 2 more times.
Think of the dog. Maybe smack him in the head again. Remember that?
Yeah. No, it was not the XFL. This was before the XFL. This was the merger. This is where the Bills come from there. I don't know. Someone will know. And say hi to Brick. How are you doing, Brick? Love when Brick joins in. Love when Ken joins in. Toy connections, Ken. Don't try and make me mess up there. Anyway, that was my little my little story about the Panther. If Ryan was here, he got to experience it for like 15 minutes before we went live. That one is a complete character like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, Joefest is on again. USFL, yes, thank you very much. The USFL, and then it came back, and now it's merged with the XFL. And let's be honest, it's all gonna be real crap football because they're guys that can't make it to the NFL. You know what? You know, God bless them. You know what? You are absolutely right. The Bills were yes. Okay, so the AFL merged with the NFL. The USFL paid a lot of players, and then when it didn't last, it didn't last like 2 years. Then it shut down, and the big names ended up on different teams. Well, you know what? If I was in Detroit, I might agree, but I'm 8 miles outside of Detroit. If it was Columbus, it might be a rat. And I say that, but hey. And there he is. It was a panther, and there was 3 of them, 6 feet tall. Took them all on. Yeah, you probably did it right before I tuned in. Oh, hey. I don't know. What would you like? Do you leave the iPad over there before you text, and then you walk in here, huh, buddy? Don't act like I can see it. Look, I have you up there. Look, I can see you. You text. Look, you just went in here, right? Anyway, all right. Enough of that. So Joefest is on. They are announcing more and more people, and I think maybe going forward, maybe we'll start kind of covering it since I am planning on going. I do have my list of what was it? Fuckers I'm looking forward to meeting there or meeting again. But yeah, it is pretty cool. I believe it. Patty Jenkins from he's on the books. He's been on the Full Force. Maybe that will kind of force Chris from the Full Force, or maybe get him to take a trip out there, because I know a lot of people would love to see Chris from the Full Force out there. Again, since Hasbro unfortunately won't come out there, which is very disappointing that someone is willing to completely do a show devoted to one of their toy lines. They could at least kind of throw a bone and go out there. So Noom says, I'm from Pontiac, Michigan. That's on the other side of 8 Mile. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're closer to Detroit than I am, I would say. Well, no, because you're that's around Hall Road. Well, I'm 59 for you. Probably about the same distance from Detroit. I know where Pontiac is. No, Pontiac all too well. Aaron will be at MegaCon February 1st. We will be at MegaCon February 1st to the 4th. It's going to be a good time. Tons of toys. Is that in Georgia? I did just see that. So, yeah. Listen, I'm looking forward to meeting the people. I don't really care. I'm not interested in meeting creators of the of the TV show or the it's in Florida, he says, which isn't far from Georgia. Matter of fact, they touch each other. Yeah, like I said, I'm interested in meeting the friends that I've made through through this adventure that I guess we could call it. But it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. You know, I'm still kind of waiting to hear back from Travis. I don't know why he hit me up about uh, double checking with me, so maybe I'll hear from him this week or something. So anyway, let's get on with the news. And listen, there's 54 of you right here. There's only a little bit of Motu news, and it's mixed with TMNT, which I don't know how that does on my show because I don't talk TMNT. So anyway, let's bring it up here. Masters of the Universe. I'm lumping Turtles of Grayskull into it because, again, I don't collect turtles. And we got this Slacker. Now, this is a mutagen, thing. I don't remember. This is Fakor, and someone fill me in on who else he's mixed with. I know I've seen this turtle before, but he is part of the build the build the Metal Bottle. My buddy Customs, I'm painting a Turtles of Grayskull Leonardo I got today. He is amazing. Tony says, "Hey Larry, at Joefest, I got to be a big spoon, okay?" Well, you can big spoon with Travis all you want. Oh man. Anyway. Okay, Brick says it's Slash. Cobweb says it's Slash. Yeah, and he's mixed with Fakor. So anyway, $25 for these things. Again, still trying to figure out what drunk dude was doing the $40 Moss Man and said it should be $40. I saw Moss Man at Walmart this week. There was so many of them. So I'll just wait to hopefully we find them on clearance. I can't imagine it can be too much longer because there's so many Moss Men right now. But anyway, I think these things look really cool. And again, if you like Motu and you like turtles, I think this is just like the perfect type of crossover. Here's the artwork on the side. As I've mentioned so many times, seriously, some of the best artwork that you're going to find in the toy industry today. They do so much. The artists, they do such a good job, and it's the exact opposite of what like the Classified was we're doing, where they were picking different artists for a while till they kind of settled on one. I believe the same guy or guys have been doing this artwork. I'm sure someone can kind of fill me in on this, but here you can see Skeletor and Shredder together on either side, and I just think it looks really cool. So I know this isn't everyone's thing, but I think it's really cool for, again, the fans of Turtles and Motu. And I know someone like my buddy's Custom, we were on a stream not too long ago now on Oz's things, and I think it was before we started, and he said, this is what I've always wanted as a kid. He grew up on both these properties. So for someone like that's collecting to get it, I think it's super cool. And I mentioned it's a lot like the G.I. Joe Transformer crossover that we're kind of getting in the O-ring form. We've all wanted that for so long. I mean, I think it's cool what they're doing, but let's be honest. If they decided that, hey, we're going to do an Optimus Prime like Optimus Prime, in the actual Optimus Prime Peterbilt, along with, let's say, Hawk and not Duke, anyone but Duke, I think people would lose their mind. I think we would all buy that if it was actually the Peterbilt. And then if you did, a Megatron that's actually, let's say, a tank, because you gotta scale it properly. That's not his tank. I think people would absolutely love that type of stuff. Or if you could make him transform into a tiny little gun for Cobra Commander, that would be even cooler. And then he turns into a big giant robot. Wouldn't make any sense, but hey, does any of it make sense? Aaron says, I think the figures look amazing. Great idea, great timing. And that's just it. I don't know if you collect these. I don't collect them. I mean, I picked up a mouse jaw there. But again, like, I don't have to collect something to look at it and be like, you know what, that is awesome. And I'm glad that somebody is getting something that they've, wanted their whole entire life. I mean, this is what makes this fun, or at least it shouldn't make it fun. And then today, like this dropped today, the Ram Man packaging. Now, I was watching Toy Habits yesterday, and I don't know if he posted the video, but Michael from Toy Habits, it's towards the end of their live stream. He plays a video where he actually he did a video with Ram Man being mutated into this actual Ram Man, which I think is really cool. And he talked about how he did it, and it wasn't anything like crazy. He said, I just started playing around with something, and I was able to kind of mess around with it. So after the live stream, if you're interested in this, go check it out. It's in the last 10 minutes, I believe. So you don't have to scroll through the whole video if you don't want to watch the whole live, but why not, Michael and the Toy Sorceress are really good, but it's very Motu heavy. So not everyone is into that. But I think this one looks awesome too. And to take, a Ram Man, again, it makes actual sense. You make Ram Man a big ram. It's not a panther like what's on the other side of my fence that Roman was going after. Oh, Fatrin. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going back to, would it be hooded Cobra Commander? I'm going to say no, but maybe, just maybe it would be. Noom says they got the mashup wrong. The Transformers should have turned into themselves just big enough for the O-Range O's. I think that would have done better. I mean, I love the idea of what they're doing. I love the idea of what they're doing. I'll talk about it a little bit more before we move on. I love the idea of what they're trying to do with the Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, and I love how they're trying to mix it. And personally, I think it's actually pretty cool. But you're right. To see General Hawk get into the Peterbilt that's Optimus Prime, that's scaled, I mean, is it really going to be that much bigger? You don't have to scale it exactly at the same size. If you can make a HISS tank, again, Optimus Prime is going to be a fairly large vehicle no matter what. So I'm kind of with you. I think that would do better because I think that would have made Transformer people, the Transformer fans, and the G.I. Joe fans happy. And who would care, man? They're robots in disguise. They can have guns coming off them, right? And they could go and attack different things like that. So I'm kind of with you. I think that would have looked so much better. Aaron says Megatron shrunk down to a handgun every. Oh, but see, if they could transform him into a smaller gun for Cobra Commander, a hooded Cobra Commander, that is, Patrick, it'd be even better. It says, so this turtle line is a dream come true for me. I was born in 86, so when I was 4, it was prime TMNT, and Motu was still big for me. So I used to cross over the toys all the time. So if there's someone who was like Motu, I'm sorry, Turtles was after me. You look at them and they're the two figures that kind of scaled very well together. And again, I think it's awesome. Like I just think it's so cool for someone like yourself. And again, there's no way that you're the only one that that love that. So they looked into something, and I know some people have an issue with it, but again, why would you have an issue with it? Like, if you don't like it, move along. Anyway. Stinky Cat Butt says, just like they did Street Fighter crossover with Transformers. Ooh, did they? Ooh, I didn't know that. I apologize on behalf of everyone. I do remember the Street Fighter guy somehow became G.I. Joe figures, right? All right. But anyway, here's the artwork. Again, you got Shredder, you got Ram Man here. You can see He-Man in the back, Skeletor. Again, just a lot of fun. Again, if you're not into it, move along. Not a big deal. So, all right. On to McFarlane. Now, I know what you guys have been saying. Everyone's been saying, listen, we have not got enough Batman. We need more Batman figures because he doesn't do enough. Well, 2024, he's coming out strong with different Batman figures. Starting with the Bale Batman. Now, I had other pictures of this to show this is a real one. I look at this, and I don't know how good this shows up here. This looks like the head is photoshopped onto that body. I looked at it in so many different ways. I cannot see how it's actually real. I don't know what happened to the other pictures that I had because I had like 4 other pictures. But this is real. This is real. But yes, 2024 is going to be the year of Batman for McFarlane, I believe. He's coming out strong in January. February is going to be even bigger for him. But if you needed a Bale Batman and you didn't get one back in the past, here it is. Then you have the Bale Batman. I'm sorry, not the Bale Batman. The Daredevil Batman. I got what's his name? Guys, fill me in. This is what happens. You're live, you're alone. I know his name. I cannot think of his name for the life of me. But it's Batman versus Superman. Batfleck, thank you. Affleck, thank you very much, Shane. That's handsome head injury, thank you. But Shane said it first. Not that it really matters. But I'm trying to highlight it. If you've ever noticed, sometimes when I go to highlight something, you probably see it on other live streams too. You go to highlight something and they highlight the wrong thing. Man, when the chat starts going, that thing jumps and you always hit the wrong one. So anyway, we have Batfleck here. And as you can see, they're setting up to do a 2-pack. I think Affleck was a really good Batman. And if you are like, hey, you know what? I like to have every iteration, or I like to have certain iterations of, the actors that played Batman, here you go. I think it looks pretty good. It's obviously got to be a different sculpt and a different mold because this Batman is different. I'm sure he reuses some stuff because that's what McFarlane does. That's what everyone does. So I don't want to just say McFarlane. But here you go. You got a couple fists, so he cannot punch Superman and hurt him. He's got his grappling gun, his batarangs. Cloth cape. So I don't know if that means that it's going to... Well, holy crap. I'm sorry. Distracted me. So my cursor just happened to go over where it tells me how many people are watching. And I didn't realize this, but when it tells me live viewers, it tells me how many people are watching on YouTube and also how many people are watching on the Facebook group. I can tell you nobody is watching on Instagram Live because it crapped out again. Because, I don't know, I got to figure out why it doesn't work. Anyway. Does have a cloth cape. That's the only reason why I put the back of him on here. Your typical multiverse Batman. What do you want, buddy? Do you need to go outside? Okay. Romy needs to go outside. Okay. She's coming. Go get that panther. And in the back, we have Batman versus Superman. Am I the only one that feels like... I feel like Batman... He shouldn't be bigger than Superman. I mean, I don't think he should be like looking up at Superman, but I don't think Superman should be even a little bit shorter than him. Although I like the size of Batfleck. I really did think in those movies, I don't blame his character for how bad those movies got to be. And some are decent and some are. Anyway, and let's say hi to Nolan. Hi, Nolan, in the chat. And I did see PNC here. So, PNC, don't think that I forgot you. Again, a lot of wonderful channel members. Thank you all for all the channel members. You guys are great. Seeing all this green in here. Hey, and don't forget, I did put a new little Roman icon in there. So if you go look in there, you can find the little Roman icon that was there. That's a vibe. I'm going to say that's a new name that I have never heard. So thank you very much. If I'm wrong, Matthew will correct me. Ben was a decent Batman. He did ultimately prove the haters wrong, much like all of the rumblings with Heath Ledger and announced what was announced as the Joker back then. I agree 100% with you. And again, like, there have been so many different characters in different movies that the movies have sucked, but it has nothing to do with the actors. G.I. Joe is a perfect example. I thought there was some really, really good casting in those first couple movies for who the actors were. I thought Storm Shadow was perfect. Snake Eyes was perfect. I thought Scarlet was awesome. The Baroness was good. It's not their fault that the movies were awful. I don't blame most of these actors, Ezra Miller excluded, for the movies being bad. I do not blame the actors for it. So, it's the writers, it's the producers, it's the directors. Again, I don't know how hard it is to make movies when all you have to do is open up a few comic books and be like, oh, hey, look, somebody already did a rough draft for us. You look at the early Marvel, a lot of the early Marvel movies. I know some people aren't going to like them, Matthew, but you look at like Civil War, it was adapted really well. The Winter Soldier, like they adapted certain comic storylines really well. But G.I. Joe, like, other than the one part in the silent interlude that they did, which I still think is a really good part of the movie. That movie, the second movie was by far the best of all three of the movies they've done. But the silent interlude part is really the only part that I really like when they're saving Storm Shadow and stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of people will go, oh, it's awful. Well, no, that scene was good. You got to pull yourself away and be like, that scene was actually pretty good. But again, G.I. Joe, like, they've written everything for them. Like, Larry Hama wrote everything for them, and it's like, it's again, Larry Hama said, here's all the work, put it into a movie, and there's assholes that think that, a hooded Cobra Commander looks like, we know what he thinks they look like, and they can't figure out. And the same thing, Batman. Seriously, Batman, Superman, there's so many good storylines. Of course, they tried doing the death of Superman right away. Like, why would you do that right away? At least they waited three movies for Bale to do, Bane breaking the Batman's back. Anyway, enough about that. I don't know what Batman this is, but this guy has a big bat, so we're saying number 3 Batman for January. Well, did I talk about any of the Batman? So anyway, a nice robotic Batman. I think this one actually looks pretty damn good, to be honest. I think it looks pretty cool. Again, do you need this Batman? Bonaventure. I missed something. You meant the Bonaventure. I see Bonaventure. I think of Bonaventure Hotel from Midnight Madness. And if you guys know the movie Midnight Madness, then you know how amazing of a movie that actually is. Good luck finding it. I own it. Anyway, it says all they had to do was get the set, vehicles, etc. Right? Yeah. There's so much stuff they could have done. So anyway, here we have a Batman. Big wings. They look like they plug in a lot like the gargoyles. I don't think it's going to be nearly as big as the gargoyles, which, as many would know, that's not the worst thing. I don't have a problem with the wings being big. I have more of an issue with the tails that trip them. My buddy Custom says, I'm tired of the all full black Batman suits. I think there's a time and place for each one, to be 100% honest. I thought it worked really well with 89 Batman. I think it worked good with, Bale. But I'm with you. I think a lot of people wanted to see the blue, and I don't know if people really want to see the underwear on the outside, but I definitely do. I definitely do think that they could add some color to it. You can still make someone broody, not being all black. Anyway, I think this thing looks good. It'd be nice if you could remove the bat symbol. Then you could use them in a lot of different other types of lines. And he would fit pretty good in some sort of like mythology. Hell, he might even fit good with the gargoyles. Now that I'm looking at him thinking, maybe I could work him in with my gargoyles display. But anyway, I'm sure there is some sort of story to this Batman. I don't know it. If you know it, feel free to jump in the comments and let me know. So, and if you do notice, the one thing that they did do is he gave him a different stand, which is very interesting. He usually has that stupid circle stand, which really doesn't work all that well. Says that was Batman Hellbat suit. Okay. All right. And here's how it sticks out. So I just put the side shot on just so you can see how far it sticks out. I don't think it looks all that bad, but it's not flush with it, that's for sure. And definitely makes it seem like he's going to be back heavy, where he's going to kind of fall down. So there's the back shot of him. And it is a gold label. And I know these were available. Both of these, I believe, were available together. Or was there another Batman? The back of it. And if you're in inbox, are there inbox collectors for DC Multiverse? Is there any McFarlane inbox collector these days? I feel like that's not something that you do. All right. So we discussed these. I showed them off. I love the animated series. I thought the Batman animated adventures here, this whole series that turned, that spawned Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Absolutely love it. I don't care that none of the characters ever went in for leg day. They all worked out upper body. I don't care. I love these figures, these toys. My oldest had them. She watched. I collect them, and when I met my ex, she was playing with them because my oldest is my stepdaughter. And so we would watch Justice League all the time. And she collected a lot of the figures, and she'd play with these figures. So I love the way these look. Will I collect them? Probably not, because I don't need to really go down another line. But I had to post some of these because I'm assuming because of the size of the legs, they're giving them all these specific stands, which is pretty cool. Okay. So here she got, I'm assuming this is 5 sets of hands, or maybe there's only 4 sets and they're showing all of them, including what she has on. We have a batarang, the grappling hook, and then this stand, which, as you can see, it's going to wrap around her. So here it is. And I laughed at this because it's huge, which means she's going to wobble around on it, right? It's so obvious. So usually something like this, it does not completely engulf them. so it shows up. You know, they stand out. Um, and War Chest says the animated is one of those lines I've stayed away from because I would go ham. I agree. Like that's kind of what scares me. That's kind of what scares me. I think these look amazing though because they really give you the vibe, the feel of those original ones that we had in the 90s, 90s and the 2000s. All right, so she comes with her card. You know, here you have Batman fighting in the background, and she looks very giddy about things. Um, let's see here. My buddy says, fun fact: Tim Bruce, who did the design for the Batman animated series and so on, also worked on Master of the Universe prior. That's interesting because the Master of the Universe guys never miss leg day. Those guys never skipped leg day. I'm pretty sure leg day was incorporated into chest day and back day and shoulder day and back day and abs day. And you probably did leg day on leg day also. That pre-leg day. So here she is. You can tell she's a very small figure, which really goes to the stand that she has. Batman. So here we are, number 4 Batman for January release. Again, not all black; it's gray and black. But again, right out of the cartoon, it's got the skinny little legs, huge chest, huge back. I mean, seriously, you take away the lower body, and this is Batfleck. And that's one of the reasons why I really, really like that. So here you have the different hands, his grappling hooks. Again, all the stuff that we saw in the cartoon. Along, we can see that there's a stand. However, again, these are the production shots. I get it, right? But who said let's wrap this around his leg and do a photo shot of it, because this is how people want to stand their Batman with a clamp around his leg. I understand that it has the cape in the back, but I saw this and I honestly broke down laughing. Like I just, it was so damn funny to me because it just like this. I mean, this is your shot. This is what you're putting out there to say, hey, you know what? This is how it looks. This is how it's. I've never seen this before. I love the fact that they're doing something like Mezco kind of does something, you know, with a stand like this. But why the hell would you do it like? And I literally I broke down and started laughing. Wraith Mace, what's up, Punk Sir? And hey, folks, love seeing Wraith here. Great guy. But this just made me laugh. Again, it's little things like this in life that I catch, and I just, you know, you lose it because you just lose it. So here's the side of him. I think the cape looks good. It wraps around him. I can tell you that this thing is probably this cape is probably harder, so you're going to lose a lot of mobility in those arms. Unfortunately, leave it alone, buddy, and you don't have to worry about it. It won't scare you. And we want to say hi to Jay Astro. Okay. At first, I thought polio Batman. Leg brace Batman is a thing now. Liquid Identity says, without a stand, it would be like balancing an orange on 2 toothpicks. No, I understand why there's a stand for it. I just don't understand why it's there. I feel like there was a better place to put it. Shane says, leg brace Batman is off. This is why you guys tune in, right? You guys tune in to find shit like this. So here's the card that he comes with. Again, we all know this. We all know this Batman here. We can see how much bigger he is in in the case or in the box rather than Batgirl. And on here we can see Nightwing and Robin. So we're going to be getting those figures. You can't really throw them on here if you're not going to do that. So here we have, I want to say Crockmaster, but it's not Crockmaster. Someone correct me on who the hell this is. And I vaguely remember this. I vaguely remember the little girl. But he has the bottle so he can feed her and everything. So as you can see, there's some pretty nice accessories. Killer Croc, thank you very much. Again, this is where again brain farts that you end up having doing this on your own. So Baby Doll and Killer Croc, cool accessories. You get the turkey, you get the bottle. So I know people like when they see it on clearance, someone like Payne, he's definitely going to want to pick this up. So, but here we go again. It wasn't a one-off, all right? Because we got the Killer Brace Croc right here. We got his brace leg on here. I'm sorry. It was like when you saw him Batman. Okay, first off, I saw it on Batgirl, and it was so big. I'm like, she's swimming in it. She's gonna be bouncing around. And then I saw Batman with the leg, which is even smaller than her leg. And then I saw Killer Croc with it. And it just made me laugh. Like, who did these shots? Like, again, and here with him, why would you do it with his? With Batman, you said, hey, you know what? It's hard to get it behind the cape, but there's no excuse for Killer Croc why they have it this way. But they did. So it just made me laugh. Let's say hi to Ted Darklaw and Oz, who finally decided to show up. I guess this is him rebelling because I didn't show up on his Saturday show, but it's okay. It's all good. I'm not mad that he showed up 58 minutes late. Jay Astro says the whole Batverse has been afflicted with some sort of degenerative muscle disease. Afflicted with, we're talking about Batflex. I'm saying Affleck. Afflicted with some sort of degenerative muscle disease. I mean, I understand. I mean, I do understand, but like, honestly, like, I couldn't imagine doing these promo shots and being like, hey, look, I got it wrapped around their leg. They are standing, though. All right. And here he is holding the big giant turkey. So, all right. And again, here we see what the card is going to look like. Every McFarlane has to have a card, and here's the box design. So you can see he's bigger than Batman. Batman's much bigger than Batgirl. So these boxes are definitely going to take up a good amount of space. No doubt about that. So here we have Two-Face. I don't know if this is a briefcase or if this is his cooler that he's taking to work. So you can see he has, the different hands, different mask, and he also has a stand. And I'm not gonna lie, man, I was so disappointed that they used the stand properly around his waist. Now they probably should have painted or used the one side white so it doesn't stick out as much. But at least they didn't put it around his leg. So there you can see you can actually use the stand properly if you really want to. But when I saw these pictures, the whole thing just made me laugh. Like I lost it. Again, little things like that will, make me. Now you guys know by now. You guys have watched long enough. 60 of you guys watching. Listen, hit that like button if you haven't already. Yeah. Says this gives me Forrest Gump run, Forrest run. Oh man. Yes. So Noom points out those feet. I want to say we discussed this maybe on Oz's because I was talking about it with someone. And we went to the feet and how tiny they are and how it didn't seem to make a lot of sense. They're just tiny little feet. I want to look at it here, but unfortunately it tells me the slide, which says slide 44, is in my way. So you only see the tiny feet here and there. So there's his card. I never noticed that the half side of him looks like, is it Ursula from The Little Mermaid? Never dawned on me that that's what he looks like on that side. So anyway, my buddy's customs. For every like Lawrence gets, he grows 1 centimeter. Let's get him to 5'1". Listen, I am well beyond 5'1". I don't know for how much longer, because we all start to lose it. Two-Face with no guns is just a boner killer for me. I get there's a policy, but still frowny face. Listen, Astros, listen, we all have things that are a boner killer to us. I don't think I've ever used an action figure to be a boner killer. But that is an absolute awesome phrase. Matt, do you see it, Matthew? Like I cannot not see it once I pointed it out, and I never noticed it before till literally just now. What's in the bag? Well, I'm still trying to figure out: is it what is it? Is it a bag? Is it a briefcase? Is it his lunch with his cooler in it? Yep, well beyond 5'1.5" is not considered well beyond. You guys are mean. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. Just mean. Mean people all in my chat. Oh my gosh. And Matthew says, damn it, Larry, now I can't unsee it. Hey, I literally just saw it, and maybe it's because it's small, but it looks like Ursula, right? I've actually never seen The Little Mermaid, believe it or not. And that is the end. Believe it or not, those slides took up the full amount that I could use, so I had to do a different slide. I didn't expect the McFarlane slides to take up that much space, but it sure the hell did. Astro, maybe it's his cat carrier. Does he have a cat? He should have a cat. Maybe you know what? Maybe it's the cooler, so then you can put that big giant turkey that Killer Croc has. So you got to think outside the box. I don't even know if the thing opens. I mean, it's McFarlane. It probably doesn't. Anyway, that is everything to do with our Motu and our McFarlane. And oddly enough, I got to say this. I see more and more people stick around to McFarlane. I'm honestly 100%. Does anyone even collect McFarlane? I mean, I got to talk about it because it's very comical. It does take up time and creates a longer space, but it always brings good good comedy. I feel like everyone seems to be laughing about it. My buddy Customs, I used to be 6'1" and now I'm 5'11", so the fear is real. Hey, listen, my ex has had 4 back surgeries, and where she was marked on our wall, because we lived in this house together, and we have kids together, so we still mark them. She has come down in size. There is no doubt about it. She has come down in size. And you do, okay, I collect McFarlane Spawn figures, and I have a little collection of JLO figures and a few customs I did. But I don't think anyone's like, I swear, like, I don't feel like people are like, oh my God, I got it. Well, I take that back because clearly there are, because people pay $40 for some, for like each figure. It just, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's not a huge collection. Like, you talk G.I. Joe, and boom, there are G.I. Joe collectors, Star Wars collectors, obviously, and Black Series. So, Mythic Legion, but McFarlane, it just doesn't seem like it's a big thing. Snow Wolf says, yeah, I have several of the NFL, NBA figures. I guess my question was, not that they don't collect any, that they, that I feel like they're like people aren't all in. I think it'd be hard to be all in on his stuff, but yeah. And Alex says, I just received McFarlane Lobo. Are you talking about the one with the big bike? I still got to review that. That was dropped off for me to review along with this big guy. So that is not the McFarlane one. This is the one that I think I might lose my buddy's number because it is a sweet ass figure. And I'm not even like a big Lobo fan. So anyway. All right. So I'm quickly looking at some of these comments. Aaron says I only pick up McFarlane on the discount. War Chest, I picked up McFarlane Toys here and there, but never a wave or anything like that. Yeah, I was the same way. Like I picked up like a whole Bat family, and I ended up kind of getting rid of it. Well, I got rid of Superman. I still have the other ones I have to get rid of. Screw that. 40 plus shipping on the new wave, not a chance. Yeah, we talked about that last week, and there is a way to get it down lower, but I'm not really happy with. I don't really like the way he did that. He's usually pretty good with his figures, to be honest. OG McFarlane movie Maniacs and Spawns were the height of McFarlane for me. I think NECA came in and then made him irrelevant in my eyes. I would not say irrelevant, but collectible-wise, yes. There's no doubt about it. When it comes to collectibles, yeah, like it's, you look at what you get with a NECA figure and what the design, and usually the sculpt is so much better. But again, you're also going to pay $40 for one of those figures compared to what was $20 and now it's $25. So, and Tony, I know Superpower figures, I'm getting the JLO numbers. Yeah, if you're able to, like if you're able to just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to get one here, one there. I'm going to get a whole Bat family like I was, and I didn't have to be all in, or a whole Justice League. Yeah, it works out. And again, you have lots of Batmans to choose from if you think one looks stupid, or Superman. So, and Derek says I do, but very selective on what I buy. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it is. So, hey, you know what? You guys are all tuned in, and I think we're all enjoying it. I think we all get a good laugh out of it. And to be honest, McFarlane somewhere is laughing himself because he's making a shitload of figures and making a ton of money off it. So good for him. He does keep his prices down, other than the $40 exclusives, which still just seems like it came out of nowhere. So, all right. Marvel Legends. Now this is not new, but it did go up for pre-order. I forgot to put it up there on Entertainment Earth and Amazon, but probably no one would have bought it anyway. And this is the Wolverine and Hulk 2-pack. I like this just for the fact that you can see the size difference between the two of them, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Yep, as Shane said, Todd is laughing all the way to the bank. And good for him. Because you know what? You can say whatever you want about all the stuff that he sends, that he ships out there and everything. But the fact is, he is keeping a lot of these figures affordable, especially for the size and everything. And he says, that's a vibe. I was down with DC Multiverse when it started. Now I only cherry pick. Todd's character select is so random outside of Batman stuff. And you know what? That's another huge thing. Everything is very random. It took so long to get an actual Wonder Woman, the classic Wonder Woman that everyone wanted, which made no sense because you have the rights to do, in my opinion, still the three most popular superheroes of all time: Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. No matter how popular Marvel has gotten with Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine, Iron Man, I still don't think they're more popular than Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. I mean, it's kind of like saying, as popular as The Rock has gotten and Steve Austin, they're still never going to be more popular than Hulk Hogan. Everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is. But anyway, on to Marvel Legends. I do think this is a pretty good pack. Not something that I'm really interested in, but I do love seeing the size comparison of Wolverine and Grey Hulk here. So, and this is something that we had discussed before on Oz's stream when they showed off Wolverine and Sabretooth. And they really should have highlighted how much bigger Sabretooth is than Wolverine. They do it here. I love the fact that you can make Wolverine looking up and Hulk looking down at him. It gives you that, why he's a runt, why he's always the underdog. This is something that as much as I like some of the X-Men movies, and I think Hugh Jackman is a really good Wolverine, his size and his stature take away from one of the best characteristics of Wolverine, and that's he is exactly my size in the comic, which makes me probably like him a little more. But he's always fighting an uphill battle. Every time that he fights Sabretooth, he's fighting up at Sabretooth. He fights Hulk, he's fighting up at Hulk. So again, I love the fact that they did this. I like the picture. We've shown this before. So here's Hulk. Again, plain background because they are, as we discussed, if they do certain things, Marvel owns the rights to it. So they give the easiest stuff out there. It says, "Okay, Punk, quit shilling for your dwarf buddy." Okay, you said Puck. You meant Punk. And look at me, being the nice guy that I am, I corrected it for you. Now I'm pointing out to everyone that you're not smart enough to spell Punk, although you did capitalize my name, so I do appreciate that. And say hi to Stanley. Where's Stanley at? Oh my gosh. Say hi to Stanley Eberhardt. That just flew right off the tongue. Look how good I am. Anyway, here's the Hulk. I don't know how they balanced him. No, he meant Puck. You mean as in like Puck, like the other little Canadian? Wasn't he Canadian in the Marvel universe? So, and fuck you. All right. Anyway, so this is the only thing that this is the only thing I don't like, and I hated in the movies how they changed where his claws came out, how they came out in between his knuckles. There was a whole thing where they had the adamantium that was inserted on the top so it could come out there without breaking through his skin every single time. I think it just looks better. This is the one thing that I hated about the claws in the movies, and hopefully this is something that they will change when they finally do a new Wolverine, because I don't like seeing that. It also kind of grosses me out. So So here he is. He has 2 heads, a couple fists, and claw hands. Hawk, same thing, 2 fists, couple hands, and a head. You don't get much with Marvel Legends. Again, we kind of talked about this with Sabretooth one, how they really should have scaled it so you could see them both standing at the same spot, so you can see how much taller one figure is than the other. Unfortunately, they don't. They probably don't think about that. They don't think kids think that, or adults think like that. So, J Astro says, "Big Gray Hawk is sweet, but the Wolverine sort of reminds me of a cake topper." Robo don't know on his stream on Saturday, or not his stream, on his weekly show. He actually put the not Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Harrison Ford Indiana Jones in the white tuxedo, like pictured next to them, so you can see exactly how they how they look. So he was just trying to say, hey, you know what, if you want to do something. So yeah, I mean, if you want to do, again, this is an awesome, like someone was asking about like the dress uniforms for G.I. Joe. Like this would be awesome, especially with, Harrison Ford, if you want to do shots where they're all at some, black tie event. So yeah, it's called Club Obi-Wan Indy. Once again, see now you cannot. See now you can't say you meant to say Puck when you can't even spell Obi-Wan right, Ed. And see, I keep hearing Club Obi-Wan, but I don't know because I've never seen any of the Indiana Jones. All right. And then here's the back of it, and just giving you the classic cover that we've seen on the comic book before. Whew. All right, so Hiya dropped these. I think they've done some of these. Are you asking why I've never seen Indiana Jones? I feel like we've discussed this. I just never seen them. I mean, I've seen parts of them. There's no reason why I haven't seen them other than Veteran mask him that every week. I think he meant I ask him that every. See, again, like you guys, listen, you guys try to say you meant to say Puck, but you guys are getting all kinds of things wrong. I've just never seen it. Like it's one of those things. I have no reason not to see it, but as time went on, I just never sat down and watched it. And yeah, I don't know. I never sat down and watched it. I mean, I've seen lots of parts of them, but I've never sat down and watched an Indiana Jones, and now it's just kind of become the running joke. But there are people that have never seen Star Wars, which I really don't understand how you've never seen Star Wars. And there's people like Allison that will say she's never seen Top Gun. I cannot believe that Allison has never seen Top Gun. And I don't know why someone wouldn't want to see Top Gun. It is amazing. And Veteran, listen, I'm not even, and it has nothing to do with me not thinking they're good movies or anything. It's just one of those things where I just haven't watched it. So, yeah. And Eternity Lips, listen, like Matthew has been on me. Movie assignment for you to the future movie show is starting with Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. Listen, Matthew's been on me, and it hasn't happened yet. So maybe one day it will happen. Maybe it will happen when him and Ed do the show together, and I'm not on it. Anyway, back to Hiya. So I've never seen the Goonies. I think that is the big one. Hey, listen, I had finally seen it later on, but we just watched it and talked about it. It's not that good. I'm sorry, guys. Goonies is not that good. And quickly say hi to James. All right. So anyway, Walking Dead figure, and yes, I just had a complete blank of his name. And yes, I do know who this is, and I watched the whole series of The Walking Dead. Maybe one day they'll actually come out with that Rick movie. Daryl, thank you, Daryl. I knew it. I just and actually Norman Reedus was on my brain more than Daryl. So anyway, you can see he comes with his crossbow. Now I'm not really sure why, like what iteration this is. You know, he was not in the comics. I didn't read the comics, but I know he was created for the TV show. It was never in the comics. But in the movie, I'm sorry, in the TV show, he wears a specific jacket almost the whole entire time. Top Gun 2. Not wait, are you trying to say Top Gun 2 wasn't a great movie? Because Top Gun 2, we've talked about this. Top Gun 2, if you take nostalgia out of Top Gun, is way better than the first one. I mean, I'm never going to say, I don't know if I'll ever say I like it more than the first one, because the first one is so campy and it's all F-14 Tomcats, which was amazing. But Top Gun 2 is amazing. And I liked it even more after going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, watching fighter pilots specifically talk about how those planes were flown and how, yes, it could really be done like this. These are real maneuvers and all the language and lingo that they do. So anyway, all right. So okay. So I've been seeing all these spinoffs, and I haven't gotten around to watching any of them. And this one keeps popping up. I know he somehow makes it onto the other side of the world, which makes no sense to me, but I guess I have to watch it. That's Vibe. Yo Punk. It clearly says his name on the bottom. Yeah, you're right. Listen. Well, okay. So there's two things to that, and you are absolutely correct. It is right there. When I have my cursor on it, it tells me what the slide is, and I can't see anything right there. So, but listen, that's the Vibe. I'm not sure how often you've been here. You'll realize I miss a lot of things. When you're doing this all alone, I've said this numerous times, you get the brain fart. That's what you guys are here for, to help me and I guess rip on me too. So, Derek, yep, Top Gun Maverick is amazing. Top Gun Maverick is fire. Like, listen, I'm telling you, man, like, I know there are a lot of skeptics about Top Gun 2. It was awesome. Anyway, so I think this figure does look pretty good. Again, I'm not sure why they didn't go with his actual jacket. Why he's wearing a trench coat. I'm trying to remember back when he wore a trench coat. But yeah. Patrick says Larry is lonely is what he's saying. That's a whole another issue. Anyway. Why wasn't Meg Ryan plot point or money? Plot point. I mean, I can tell you. Well, you know what? No, I don't care. You know what? It's been out long enough. All right. Part of the plot is that Goose's son, Rooster, she passed away before he made it to become a pilot. So anyway, so I had a JLS really. I stopped following The Walking Dead when they killed off Rick and Coral. They didn't kill off Rick. Remember? He's still coming out with his own movie. sometime. He just got blowed up, and then they came back and got him. I'm waiting to figure out how they describe that. So anyway, I think this figure looks really good. Again, it's 4.1 inches. It is something that you could fit into your 4-inch GI Joes, whether you want them to be Cobra, whether you want them to be GI Joe. So much, so many different things that you could do if you're 1/18 scale. I would say this is. I'm trying to think back to when he was using stuff like this. We all remember the crossbow, and different satchels that they would use. So, it's JLS. See, that's what happens when you stop following something. But yeah, I think this figure looks really good. I've yet to have any higher figures. They say they're kind of, brittle. You can kind of got to watch the hands and everything. So, but he looks like he's going after his killer whale, like Moby Dick. So, but here's everything that he comes with: his satchel, crossbow, his stick, a couple different hands, and looking at the stands here, a couple different hands, not stands. You can kind of see like skulls and everything that are in it, which I think is very unique that they were doing something like that. So, I think in the real world, in real world terms, they wanted a younger, sexier actress to match Tom Cruise's ageless frozen face in carbonite. Meg Ryan was not his wife. That was Goose's wife, if that's what we're still talking about. Now, his love interest from the first one, yes, she looks old. She was very heavy set. She even talked about it. And let's just be honest. We've discussed Jennifer's before, right? We've discussed Jennifer's before. Jennifer Connelly is also ageless, all right? Because she looks just as good there as she does when she's doing that double thing in that one movie where she's with another woman. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll be searching it after the stream is over, before you go to bed. But anyway, Walking Dead figure, if you are interested, if you're a big Walking Dead fan, if you're just a 1/18 scale fan and you want to mix and match it with your GI Joes or whoever you're doing, there you go. Yeah, it's Kelly McGillis, but I can't think of who she is. I can't think of what her name is in Top Gun. Charlie. Call sign Charlie. But you do not need to salute her. But you do need to listen to her, because the Pentagon does. Anyway. All right, a little bit of Skeletron news. It's starting to feel like maybe those Robo Skulls are going to come. No, it is not Vanilla Sky. It's Jennifer Connelly. Listen, somebody knows what it is. Requiem of a Dream. Yes, there is a Requiem of a Dream. Jennifer Connelly. I've never seen the movie. I have seen the scene before. It is a soft core. Can't say it on here, but yeah, just go look up the scene. Jennifer Connelly, girl, Requiem of a Dream. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, Skeletron is starting to feel like we might actually get these. I don't know if I'm excited anymore. I was excited before. Then Classified decided they were going to make 6-inch vehicles. This thing was ordered so long ago, I can hardly remember. Although I can put it in between my my 4-inch room, 1/18th room, or my 6-inch figures. Now, I do need to get a stand when it finally comes because they did make a stand, and I didn't order it because I was like, I gotta save money. It was like $25. I don't know why, but these things are they're starting to ship them. So they just said the Wolf Trooper, the O-ring version, and the 4-inch one are have just hit the shores, I believe they said, or should be hitting the shores on the West Coast, and then they're going to be shipped over to New Jersey, and then they will ship them out. So, quickly want to say hi to John from Sergeant Reds. Never heard of Skeletron. It was a Kickstarter, John. The Robo Skull was Palatoy. So, it was over in the other side of the world, in Europe and stuff. That's where they bought the property, but they could do it Kickstarter. So it was, it funded, or I backed it before the Sky Striker, if I am correct. If I'm wrong, I've been saying that. So if I'm wrong, please someone correct me. But I believe the funding ended before the Sky Striker. But they are starting to, wrap it up. And hopefully this is a line that will continue on for a lot of people. So I'm not really sure what this tilt elbow is. Now, it does say it's innovative, so this is something new that their designers worked on. They have a rocker ankle, thigh swivel. You have the boot swivel. Pretty much all the things you get in a 6-inch figure, along with a lot of the modern 4-inch figures. I think these things are only $25. I did not buy any of them. Yes, see, John fits in here perfect. You are wrong a lot. Not sure on this one. See, it's like everyone that pulls everything comes to my stream. They're just mean to me. You guys are just mean. I'm just this very nice guy. I never do anything. I mean, sometimes they do memes about people, and then they nerf my Instagram like an asshole. But anyway, I'm not sure what this tilt elbow is. I'm very interested to find out because I'm not really sure what you're tilting. I feel like if you have double joints, it's pretty much what it's going to be. So anyway, these figures do look really nice. But again, these are coming out before the Robo Skull, which once again we are still waiting on, but I feel like it's finally getting closer. And when I've talked about these Kickstarters, that is one of the things that I definitely have mentioned. Like this one feels like they're giving us product that people have backed. They're not waiting till everything is done to ship it all out at once. So you don't feel like you just took my money and you're nowhere to be found. Matthew says they have all the 6-inch versions up for sale. So yeah, you have to go. Well, if you go to Skeletron, I believe it will take you to the backer kit, which is where I think you have to order everything through. So hopefully, once they're done with this, they can not use Kickstarters and not use backer kit and just have their own, line rather than using a third party, which again I feel like you lose money. Bobby Bella has, talked about why he doesn't understand why people continue to use Kickstarters rather than putting your money back into things because you just end up, losing. So anyway, I think this thing looks good. I backed it a long time ago. Not getting this figure. Only got one 6-inch figure along with the figure that comes. The O-ring. Matthew, is an O-ring figure or 4-inch figure that comes with the special edition? Because that's what I got. And that comes with it's basically Wild Weasel. It's their version of Wild Weasel because that was his favorite character. So okay, so what I'm going to do right now is it's going to take a quick second and take a breather for you guys. So you guys can talk amongst yourself and listen to a little bit of hella dope.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on?
Mossman, what are you doing back here?
Oh, you see, so Skeletor, he had to go to the grocery store. He had to go buy more barbecue Pringle chips. And so he's put me in charge here for a little bit. In charge of y'all. He said, man, Mossman, I have to go to the grocery store, so I need to put you in charge of Snake Mountain. Mwahahahaha.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
that's
Bob.
Skeletor.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Skeletor. Right.
Skeletor said since I was in charge, I could use the credit card and maybe go online and buy some action figures for myself.
Oh, some action figures sound kind of nice.
Yes. Maybe we can go to Big Ben.
Now, Beastman, we don't say that around here. We go to helldopetoys.com. They have the best prices in town, and they ship everything in one business day. One business day, Beastman. That means I buy it, and it comes to my house super fast, and they pack it all real nice. So when I go to do my YouTube reviews for my 5 subscribers, I'll be like, oh, look at this minty fresh packaged box that I got from helldopetoys.com. So what are we waiting for, y'all? Let's go get that credit card and head on over to helldopetoys.com right now before they run out of all the good stuff.
All right, I just needed a breather for a second there. I just really needed a breather. It works there. I didn't go take a crap like someone said. Believe me, I need a much longer commercial. I need an infomercial to do something like that. Just so you know, James Lucas. If you ever see the ShamWow infomercial show up, yeah, then you know what I'm doing. Anyway, so the next thing that I have is a little bit of G.I. Joe news. And I wouldn't even say it's news, but it was Emily and Lenny did a interview with Dan Who Reviews, and I did put a link in the description to it. I thought it was really interesting. It's only like 20 minutes long. You could go watch some dude on an island who pretty much repeats everything that they talk about. Although he does give them credit. I did hear it, and I was like, oh, wow, he actually gave somebody credit, which is shocking in itself. But they do talk a little bit about the line. And I really like what Dan said right off the bat. He says, hey, you know what, listen, you have to submit their questions. And instead of just asking all the same questions that everyone asks, I'm just going to sit down and have a talk with them and discuss, the product. And I think they got some pretty good information out of them. So I would say the highlights of it is Emily does confirm that there will be at least one other vehicle. And I'm assuming that it's going to be the Stinger. This is something that we have discussed before. It was actually being discussed on one of the Facebook pages today. The Stinger makes the most sense because they have the SMS coming out, and not everyone has a HISS tank. So if you don't have the HISS tank, you can't really tow the SMS. So I have a feeling that it's going to be the Stinger that's going to come out with it. Not with it, but shortly thereafter. We know the MMS is going to come. There's no way they're not going to repaint it. I'm just wondering if they're actually going to throw in Colonel Hawk. It's kind of a bold move if you think, considering they just came out with General Hawk. But why would you go with, why would you not give Colonel Hawk? So unless maybe that's going to be like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or a PulseCon exclusive. So I'm going to say the Stinger is probably the vehicle that she is talking about. And again, I believe that we're going to get a Stinger, and I would say probably a Avant Mark II. They're the easiest that, the two that make the most sense. There are the rumors about the Thunder Machine, but the Thunder Machine doesn't make sense to go with the SMS. You kind of got to look at what they talk, what they do. In it, he talks about the world building and they kind of discuss budget in many ways. I don't believe they ever say budget, and this is something that, again, I have discussed numerous times. I know everyone just thinks, hey, you know what? You're Hasbro, $1 billion company, put out every figure. Why don't you just do that? It doesn't really work that way. Every brand is going to have a budget that they work with, and Lenny talks about it, and he asks about world building and vehicles and play sets, and he said, hey, it kind of depends. Like, do we want to do 5 figures or 1 play set? And he said maybe as the line goes along, we can do that way. We can kind of look at it and be like, all right, you know what? Let's do this play set, take away 5 figures that we were going to do this year, put out this play set that will offset the value or offset the price. And Emily also discussed, like, we don't want to give you a whole bunch of high price ticket items in 1 year. They know that, they specifically said, we read the comments, we see what people are saying, and they know that there needs to be a balance, because if you throw too much out there, it is going to discourage people. And if you're not putting enough out there, it's also going to discourage people. So they did discuss that. Dan, which I love the fact that he asked this, and he even pointed out, he said, if I don't ask this, people are going to hound me about not asking. And these are the types of questions that, people asked, or people want asked. And he asked about the gummy weapons. And he even made his own jokes about how, you try and fix these weapons and, they still just kind of bend no matter what you do. Lenny discussed it. He talked about how, depending how they are, because Hasbro goes by a different, that age range is different. It has to fit into that age, and it is one of those things that is very, very difficult for them to do. And he said, when it comes to certain things, edges might be too sharp for kids and different things like that. And this is something I've tried explaining. They know about it. This is really all that I have. Remember this. And this is something I discussed too. People don't want to hear it. Again, they're not 14 and up. She said the only one that's 14 and up is Deadpool. And that's because of the movie being rated R and different things like that. So, and again, I think there are some issues because we've seen other weapons for ages 4+ that aren't as gummy and crappy. But they said throughout 2024, you're going to see that start to go away. And by 2025, it'll be completely gone, which is great. But I thought it's a really good little interview between them. It's only like 20 minutes long, probably a little bit less, because Dan, kind of does an intro for a minute or two at the beginning, and then he talks with himself, I guess, at the end. So within 18 minutes, you could probably hear everything that they're going to talk about. But it's really good. But they do confirm that there will be at least one more vehicle. As someone mentioned earlier, 9 retro carded figures will come out. Capitan says 9 retro figures in 2024. They pretty much said that almost everything that they have announced will be for this year or into early 2025. But she also admits that, hey, you know what? Sometimes she also admits that sometimes we kind of forget the things that we reveal. In no point did they say, doesn't mean there won't be more figures. So, there's going to be San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. There's going to be the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. We know there's going to be the PulseCon exclusives. We know there's probably going to be other exclusives that aren't on that shipping notice that we've seen. So there's going to be more figures than that. Like I said, I predict at least 50 figures. We talked about it on the first year of the show. That, I think we're probably going to get like 60 to 70 figures when you start adding everything up, because there'll be 2-packs, there'll be different things like that. Again, the Joe brand is they're just humming along, and my guess is that we probably won't start to see any type of playset until 2025. I would assume, just guessing, that probably by the end of the year we'll start to see them talk about playsets going into 2025, because then you're going to have good 4 years of figures that are built up, vehicles now that are coming. But they discuss a lot of things. Like Lenny said, hey, we look at shelves and see how big shelves actually are, and we want to make sure that things fit on the shelf. When you look at that Dragonfly, you're really pushing the boundaries, but it's thin. And with the propellers facing the same direction, you can put it on that stand, and it's going to be able to fit on a shelf without a problem. And quickly, I do want to say hi to, where'd he go? We got Random Diorama. I almost did it again. Almost did it again, but I caught myself. But yeah, I just, oh, and Kiwi is here. Thank you very much. Yo, Joe, how's it going? They're going to say Howard, sir. So Will R says 9 retro cards: Duke Scarlet, Cobra Commander, Snow Serpent, EO, Rakondo, Beachhead. That's 7. Who else is coming? They may not have announced who the other ones are. Like I said, I don't believe in any way that they have announced everything. We've seen that leak list where they started to try and decode the code words and everything. So it'll be very interesting to see. Liquid says Retro Major Blood. I tell you, I mean, I have 2 Major Bloods. Not everyone was able to get him because not everyone's collecting. That would be a really, really good call, to be honest. That would be a really good call to get a retro Major Blood, because there's a lot of people that don't want that figure, and that figure is, again, I'll tell you what, man. You go back to those a couple of those first early waves, and they were still some of the best figures that they made. Say hi to Travis Moody, also known as Mood Wreck. A toy kind of mood. Nice to see you here. Still waiting to hear what you were talking to Ed about at Joefest. Okay, it's like you hit me up like you wanted to talk to me about something. Anyway, nah, where are they? Nope. Okay, so here it is. Woody says a retro Grunt or Stalker. I don't think it'd be Grunt, because they just did Grunt. Now, I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but they're going to have to change a lot of different things. And I think that Grunt body is going to be... Well, the Grunt body's already been used for a bunch of different things. Stalker is so retro already. I mean, he was one of the first that they really went retro with the retro gun and everything. And he's so readily available. Like, it's not hard to get that figure. It's hard to say what they're going to do. But Blood makes sense. Yeah, a Cobra Trooper. Yeah. I think a Cobra Trooper is well overdue. I absolutely Travis says, sorry. Oh, no, you're officially going to Joefest, so you're good. Nothing else. Okay. No, so I personally think that they, just like they did for Hydra, where they really need to just say, hey, you know what? $15 troop builder. It comes with one one weapon. and then the helmet or whatever. And then if they were smart, they would do their own accessory packs. I feel like it's something that I feel like it's another accessory pack. They're missing out on an easy buck to make. But, if they're doing it with Marvel Legends, and they've done it with a bunch of them, the Hand Ninja, and then they've done it with the Hydra figures. Like, if they can do those for $15 and they're paying a royalty, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to dump Vipers and Troopers. But those Troopers, whether it be the Cobra Infantry or the Cobra Trooper, there's a lot of people that don't have them. In all honesty, I seen the Cobra Infantry. I saw the Cobra Infantry maybe 2 or 3 times in the store. And one was when I got it at GameStop, and I was searching all over, and then I saw one at the mall. I don't think I've ever seen a Cobra Infantry in Target or Walmart. I don't even know what what wave they came in. And I think okay. Sorry about that. I feel like that figure came and went, and it was such a good figure. I like the fact that it didn't have the typical mask. It had a different style mask. You obviously can get that with the fire team, also with the Python Patrol, but they really do need to come back out with that and attack that. Not attack that, sounds stupid. They really need to drop some of those so people can army build those at a cheaper price. And if you if you gave them one weapon and you had accessory packs, there'd be less people running to Valiverse to buy them, or now people looking at Gridiron and having to buy these big expensive loadouts. And again, it's great for both those companies, but you could have your own. You could have the actual AK-47s and the sniper rifles and everything like that they could be selling as accessory packs on their own. I don't know why they haven't done that. They have all the weapons. And Travis says they would probably do troop builders in 2 or 3 packs with accessories like the skull shield troops. But yes, a good point. With bare bones, Hydra $12 to troopers. Yeah, and that's it. And that's the problem, that they're not doing anything like that. Again, this is your property. You would sell so many of them. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know what? Why would you bother doing that when you could put out a $25 figure and people are going to army build it? The problem is they're not doing it. They haven't mass produced those. That's when there was a much lower run of figures. And I believe those infantry in the Cobra Island Troopers still go for a decent amount on eBay and stuff. I don't think you're getting them for $25. So, and again, they're just really, really good looking figures. But anyway, I think that's what they need to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually do it. So, Mr. Mad Gus, they can take a lot of gun molds from Marvel Legends. No, they cannot. So understand this. Ryan Sweeney, Dreadnought Ryan, has discussed this. So in the contract between Hasbro and Marvel, and Hasbro and Lucasfilm, both owned by Disney, anything that they create is their intellectual property. So everything that Hasbro has created for Star Wars, when the contract is up, Lucasfilm decides to leave, all the molds and everything go to them. So where a lot of things that I said, like, hey, you know what, you have the blast effects, why don't you use it? Why don't you do this? Ryan's like, because they would lose that they would lose that because now it's been incorporated into theirs. So that's why you're going to see, he kind of talked about it, why you don't see certain innovations being done that you're seeing on the G.I. Joe side of stuff. But again, you would think like blast effects, like what does it matter? Like, hey, we already had this, we're going to throw it in there. But he said, according to him, in that contract that leaked, and this isn't him just throwing things out there. He said, if you can find it, it leaked that anything that's created for the Black Series or Star Wars and anything from Marvel Legends, it is their property. So when they decide to leave, and they can leave once the contract is up, and let's say they go to McFarlane, well, they can walk over there and say, hey, you know what? Here you go. So let's say you created this wonderful M4, and you're using it for G.I. Joe and you're using it for Marvel Legends for Deadpool. Well, the problem is, if they leave, you no longer have it. You have to create it again, and they can walk away with it. So I used to think the same thing too. So I forgot Punk, but thank you very much for that. Spoken short and laughed my ass off and watched it many times. Oh, I forget what that was. But yeah, so it's yeah. So Travis says, going forward, we will get a variety of different eras to keep the line going. You won't be able to complete OG-13 for 13 years. You know what? It sounds stupid. Everybody wants it. But again, we've discussed this, and you know this. The reason why they don't do it is because they know that there would be people that would just want the original figures and they'd bolt. This way, you keep people in the line looking around like, oh, you know what? I remember that tunnel rat. Or they look at that, the wolf spider, and they're like, wow, I have no idea who this figure is. He looks pretty sweet. I'm going to grab him. They want to get people into the line. Probably the exact same way Marvel Legends, does it. Oh, wait, we're eventually going to complete the team. You're already invested. They want to keep you invested, grabbing other figures rather than you get that whole Jim Lee line and then you're out. So, but yeah, there's so much that they can do. Again, the G.I. Joe brand, in my opinion, is still the hottest brand of all the toy companies right now. Again, I know there's Mythic Legions and different things like that, and they have a very loyal following. G.I. Joe has pulled in a lot of collectors that weren't into it. Who was I just watching? Oh, actually, Travis just had his last guest on. He was saying, I don't really collect G.I. Joe, but he's like, I really like them, and so I'll pick up the ones that I like, and I put them in the background of my displays and different things like that. So it's really cool. They have so much that they can do, and I don't know. Can they do more? Sure. But they're building that budget more and more. Every year, that budget is increasing, and that's because of the money that they are bringing in. And God knows they bring in an awful lot. And that they weren't supposed to. Emily has said it before. They were known as the little brand that could, which again makes no sense. But they've brought out other iterations of G.I. Joe. The O-ring was around for quite some time. The 4-inch, modern 4-inch was around for a long time. It never caught on, and fortunately, times have changed for us. I still like 1/18 scale. I still do collect it. But times have changed. A lot of people, they're not willing to accept that. The whole G.I. Joe team, they saw what they were trying to do. People liked some of the characters. They didn't like all the characters. And they did a whole 180. They changed everything. And I think it's absolutely awesome. And in that Dan Who video, Emily talks like, hey, the thing about Classified is we can take from any iteration of G.I. Joe. And it's going to take us a while to get to some of the stuff you guys like, but we have the ability to take, and we've already seen it, where they'll grab something that, like Helix, they grab something, Kamakura, they grab something that isn't from the 80s, and they threw it in there. Wolf Spider and Mole Rat, like showing, hey, you know what? We're going to create new figures. And I know, Matthew, before you say it, Wolf Spider is just Beachhead version 3 or 4, whichever one it is. I know what you're going to say. But they do want to create new characters. But just grabbing, like in a wave, grabbing one from the IDW or Devil's Due or whatever it is, grabbing one of those and pulling a figure in, so you kind of grasp it. And I mentioned before, I wouldn't mind to see movie figures. There were some really good characters in the movie. As bad as the movie was. I mean, so quickly here, Woody says, Wolf Spider is a pretty dope figure, but he could have come with a grappling hook for the rope. Well, again, understand it's budget. I know everyone hates hearing budget. They really do. People hate hearing budget, and I'm with you. Yeah. They easily could have given him the grappling hook that came with the Alley Viper. Or how about this? They could have given a rope to the Alley Viper for the grappling hook that it came with. There's some things that I would have done different. I don't think he should have come with a shotgun, though I just grabbed it and I changed it. But that Wolf Spider figure, in all honesty, is so much better than it deserved to be. Just like Grunt. It is so much better than they deserve to be. As I told Payne, he made a comment about, oh, yep, here comes Punk. He's going to say that I don't need to buy multiples. I bought 2 Wolf Spiders. So, yeah, I can't argue. Like, I can't say nothing because I like that figure so much that I kept the order from Pulse. So I would have a second one. So, yeah, I'm just kind of reading through some of these comments here. Again, anytime we talk G.I. Joe, everyone, again, it became a G.I. Joe channel. I gotta get rid of this. Once it gets warm out, I'm shaving this fucking mop off my head. Look at all this gray. This is gray. Anyway. Just kind of trying to read through the comments here. For $2, you can just buy black elastic cording for Wolf Spider. He hangs from my shelf like Alpine will eventually. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like there's certain there's certain things that I'll say, hey, you know what, you can just go do that yourself. And there's other things they'll say, hey, you know what, we shouldn't have to. If you want to talk about like grappling down, like yeah, you can go buy your own rope, right? They don't need to supply you because again, if they give you a rope, it's gonna be this long anyway, right? Who's grappling that far, right? So I don't have a problem when people are doing something like that. They're adding a little bit, and and that's where you're like, hey, just go buy a little bit of twine, make them coming down like you said, Alpine or whatever. But then when you get into the crappy weapons, you're just kind of like, hey, you know what? This is stuff that I should have to fix. When people say, you know what, just go get some Valaverse weapons or just go get Gridiron. That's great, but I shouldn't have to. They're coming with a loadout. I shouldn't have to. So, it's little things like that. So, let's say hi to B-Boy. How's it going? Got here late. Yes, you did, but it's cool. You're here now. We got Wade Howlitzson, and we got Sabir here. If you get them right away, they are, but after the depleted their quantities, watch out. Oh, I have a feeling someone's talking about swapping. Is that what you're talking about? What was your question, Shark Guys? Like, dude, I have not been paying attention because there is way too much going on. So, yeah, I don't know. What was your question? Ask the question at the bottom. No, we don't. No, No, we don't, and we don't need a raptor either. They can, they could take a raptor and chuck him away and give me, I don't know, not raptor. How about that? Hold on. I'm trying to see here. Walmart exclusives pricing. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Their pricing, I mean, they're always $25, but it is weird. I ordered a mole rat for $30 and it came directly from Walmart. And that didn't really make any sense. Like, why? Lawrence, existing characters coming to the line with a pet that's never been a pet prior. Who you got? I don't know. Honestly, God, I don't remember many pets after Law and Order and then, Naugahyde having one. I don't remember. There's the other character that is... There's the other character that looks a lot like Law. Or no, it looks like Shockwave. But he's got like a solid blue hat on. He came with the Doberman Pinscher. I believe he was a 4-inch figure. I have him downstairs. I don't really remember too much after that. Really, it was Crocmaster. I didn't have Law and Order. I have Law and Order now. I recently bought them. So I cannot answer that. I wish I could. Wide scope. So Matthew says that it's wide scope. Spearheaded Max. You're going to have to refresh me on that. So I wish I had a better answer for you, Shark. Maybe we can get a what was the there was the one Cobra diver that came with the Stingray that took out Steve Irwin, right? I would like them. I mean, I think it would be nice if they started to maybe do new figures with pets, or even like existing characters that were in the line that have pets. Again, even though I may or may not one day have a custom pit bull, I think having a pit bull would be awesome. You need to have a Doberman Pinscher. I mean, clearly, though. I mean, you want to have military dog. I mean, right there. That says, right there. Maybe we can get a artificial dog that comes with a bat. How about that? Oh yes, the Deep Six came with a shark, right? So maybe you get that. Maybe you get a shark with the Deep Six. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Dusty had a coyote. Undertow used had the Stingray. Is that what it? I thought the Stingray came with. I don't think it. It was the one that had the webbing hand, which I hated. Get rid of that. The Magnum PI figure. I believe Ed has a Magnum PI figure. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things they can do. And one of the things in that Dan Who video Emily talks about is she said, we look at a lot of things where not just for G.I. Joe, but that can be used in other lines. And she specifically mentioned the dog, talking about Junkyard, and said it could be used in numerous 6-inch lines. It doesn't have to be just G.I. Joe. And I think we've seen that in the past. Like, there's a lot of people that have bought, Crocmaster for Fiona and bought Snake Eyes for Timber, right? So they can use in other lines. So it definitely does help just to get things out like that. Oh my God. That would be so expensive. That'd be like $200 because it'd be like what, 8 dogs? Back with Hydro Viper. Okay, Hydro Viper. Yeah, I hated that figure. I do have it. I hated the webbing. It always bothered me. Again, going back to I couldn't stand Cobra Law, right? I mean, I still can't. Probably gonna be so many stupid Cobra Law figures. Yeah, Super 7 is Dog Sled Team and the Old Man with Snake Eyes. I have that. That thing was like $80. The dogs aren't bad. That Snake Eyes doesn't glow for shit. And the blind man has a gun that's as long as him. And since there are 5 points of articulation, he just falls over. Yeah. I have almost enough timbers to make a dog sled team. Yeah, well, a lot of people bought them when they were on clearance. I hope you were able to. You weren't spending $40 on every single one of them. So I mixed up Undertow, had the Barracuda. I don't remember Undertow. There's a lot of figures I will 100% admit that I do not remember. Because obviously it was a time that I wasn't collecting, and I haven't got to that point. And even a lot of stuff that I will, pick up, I totally forget their names. But yeah. But anyway, I got a lot out of G.I. Joe for no news whatsoever. But anyway, if you want, again, there is a link to Dan Who Reviews. It's, again, I think it's a pretty good interview. I do think Dan Who does a pretty good job. I'm not able to watch all his stuff all that often, but he does a lot of lives. I know a lot of people don't like him because, crazy, he actually enjoys collecting rather than drama. What a concept, right? Gotta get going. People, thanks for streaming, Punk. Good light. Hey, you know what? Thanks for joining. Love having you here. Again, everyone, listen. You guys give me some of your time. I definitely do appreciate it. But 69 people here. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. As I tell everyone, lives, for some odd reason, you do not grow subscribers. I don't understand why. You think that people would just hit the subscribe button. I think when people are watching reviews or just videos, content that's already created, it's just easy to hit it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. But I think most of you are. I've recognized most of the names here, but I also know a lot of people, they don't want to, they don't want to participate in the comments. They just want to watch. I'm sure people are watching for other reasons. Didn't get no plants though. Didn't get no plants. So we thought we got one over on Ken's stream the other day. So anyway, that was enough about G.I. Joe with nothing coming out. And that, my friends, is how you successfully waste a whole bunch of time to get through 3 hours before you even get to haven't got to the topic yet. Not 3 hours yet. So anyway. So, perfectly honest, to come up with a topic every single week can be very difficult when there's not much going on. It's way easier when G.I. Joe drops a whole bunch of news, especially for this channel. It is way easier when Motu drops boatloads of stuff. Or is there San Diego Comic-Con or PulseCon or Marvel Legends or something like that. So, I can tell you when I don't have a topic, the viewership definitely tails off at the end. I can ramble on about so much stuff, but I try and give you guys something a little bit more. So, sometimes you're going to find some things that aren't as interesting, but I thought the 90s topic which seems kind of like a mail-in topic. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like a mail-in topic. But the one thing that I found when I was searching for toy lines of the 90s, because again, I would say through 89 to like 94, 95, pretty much I would say till Power of the Force came out, I wasn't really collecting. In all honesty, every time that we went into Meyer's a big store here in Michigan, in the Midwest, based out of Michigan, 24-hour store. So we would spend a lot of time hanging out there. But when we'd go into stores, and my kids know this, you always go to the toy section first. And even when I was younger, we still did the same thing. I remember seeing, those awful Sergeant Savage G.I. Joe figures, and I absolutely hated them. Because I remember hearing about them, and I was so excited. And then when I saw them, and they weren't the right scale. I hated them. So I was really surprised when I started trying to look up toy lines and figures of the 90s. And let me tell you, when you look up toy lines of the 90s, you don't get many action figures. So that's exactly why I said I'm going to need a lot of you guys' help. I did find some. I was actually talking to Random Diorama today. He was sending me a bunch of things, and the first thing that he said, I was like, he sent one over. I'm like, dude, that was like number one. Of course, I couldn't find that page again. Of course, I saved all these pictures, and saved them to the wrong file. I have no idea where they're at. So they got saved into a different folder that will get deleted soon, I'm sure. And let's say hi to Dreadnought Ryan Sweeney. Howdy, y'all. Want to stop by and say hello. I hope you guys are having a great week. Well, it just started. My kids, they already have a snow day. If my kids do, your kids must also. You're higher up on the snow belt than I am, that's for sure. And it's finals week, so she missed today because she didn't feel good, and so anyway, Mr. Madga says, do you think the release date for the Vamp and figure is going to last that long, or will they come out earlier? That's a long time for nothing to come out. So this one is difficult. The rumor is that it's already hit the shores. Hasbro doesn't always move up their dates. Where let's say if it was, Target and Walmart, Amazon, GameStop at times, they move it up. Hasbro Pulse doesn't always, and since it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, it's hard to say. I have a hard time believing that if they've really hit the shores and they're coming into their warehouse, that they're going to sit on them for that long, because there is nothing coming out. Now, Emily did talk about that on that Dan Who thing, and she did say, hey, you know what? There's some people that said, oh my God, thank you for cutting down on, on that. So there's not pre-orders after pre-order. And then she said, then we see another comment where people are like, we need more. I'm kind of in the camp of like, I want a couple figures every month. Right now, I'm also doing content. So yes, but I want new shiny plastic in here. So let's quickly see. Matthew says, no worries. That one jerk in the forum spoiled it for Lawrence. Now he won't buy the book. I don't even know what you're talking about. I have to go back to read what Shane said. I don't even know where that's at. Matthew will tell me later what I missed. Anyway, yep, like Ryan said, yep, snow day tomorrow. There'll probably be like an inch of snow on the ground. These teachers and these schools are so determined to get their snow days in. Listen, I love you, teachers. You do a wonderful job, but you guys do get all summer off. You get 2 weeks off for Christmas. You get spring break off. Honest to God, you guys do a wonderful job, but you guys get a lot of time off. And I know I'm offending some people, I'm sure. Probably have teachers start bitching in here. But yeah. Anyway, yes, I was shocked too. I was going to pre-order one more on the top of the on top of the older pre-order that I made last minute decision. Hasbro Paul said no. Now there will be more. Like there will be more. There's no doubt about that. Everything that they've done, there will be more that will come out. They have a set amount. They obviously need to make some for damaged products and different things like that. But they don't, they make sure that, and that's how most companies are. They always over order. Same with like BBTS and Entertainment Earth. People don't realize, like, let's say they put 70,000 units up for pre-order. They may have ordered 90,000 units. I'm not saying that's how many figures they order, but so the pre-order ends, but they still have a selection. That's why when it gets in stock, like on BBTF, all of a sudden you'll see something go from out of stock, or sold out, pre-order sold out, to all of a sudden it's in stock. So, but back to the 90s stuff. This is one of those things, again, like I wasn't collecting toys, man. You went to like 90s skateboarding, 90s skate videos, I'm all in. But 95 was when I really came back and I started picking up stuff, and it was really all the power of the force. Because my best friend at the time, he was huge into Star Wars. So when these came out, I can remember them showing up at my house, and he had the workout Han Solo and his workout buddy Chewbacca, and he's like, these were the only ones they had, and we went on a mission. Little did we realize nobody had them because they only shipped so much stuff out. But the X-Wing had come out, the Millennium Falcon, and that's really what got me into it. I was the guy up at 7:30 in the morning hitting Kmart at 8 o'clock in the morning, then going to Target, and usually by 8:30, 8:45, now you have this big wait till 9:30 when Toys R Us opened up. So you would see the same people at different stores. What people would meet, and almost always see the same people at Toys R Us. But in all honesty, most of the people I saw at Toys R Us were Hot Wheel collectors. The good ones. There were good Hot Wheel collectors. Not ones that were fighting about it and pushing over stuff and yanking stuff from kids. So anyway, we're going to get into some of the 90s, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of shoot some comments on what I missed, and there's going to be a lot that I missed. So, and hey, I might even have something in here that you're going to go, that wasn't from the 90s. So anyway, there's Spider-Man. All right. Just looking at these, the artwork is amazing, but the figure, holy shit, was that garbage. And I think so much of this here now we still remember because they like to do these retro cards and different things like this. But the Spider-Man figures, they were very popular, along with a lot of the Marvel, which I find funny because I used to think like Marvel wasn't as popular as DC, and DC really only has the three big, the nice little trifecta there. That's really the popularity of them. Marvel seemed to have everything else. But I vaguely remember these as 90 toys. I remember seeing them later on in life. Because I didn't collect very many of them. Again, it was a time where I was collecting Star Wars. And again, we can get into the whole Star Wars thing. Well, we will. Because believe me, they're on there. But was anyone big into the Spider-Man figures? These are the Toy Biz ones, if I am correct, right? And I think these really get lumped in with the X-Men, but we'll see. Can I just pick all Toy Biz as my favorite? Hey, listen, you know how this stream goes, right? You know how you can do whatever the hell you want. Again, there ain't nobody making money from this, all right? So, you can pick however you want. Yeah, I've never been a big, I've never been a big Spider-Man fan, so even growing up, other than I had this Spider-Man blanket. Here, story time. I had a Spider-Man like comforter blanket that I had as a kid, and it was beat to shit. And I would not let my mom throw it away. And she fought with me. And then just time kind of went. And one day I asked about it, and she's like, I threw that away. And I threw a fit. And she's like, I threw that away like 2 months ago. That's how much you paid attention to it. But I mean, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I do remember these Batman figures because I had some of them. I actually had a bunch of Batman figures, to be honest. It was before Uncle Todd got a hold of them and produced a new Batman per day, sometimes multiples per day. But I did have a lot of these Batman figures. Didn't have any of the movie ones, but I had these Legends. I remember the Legends ones tremendously, having a whole bunch of them. And he'd have like rockets and stuff. Always five, maybe 5 points of articulation, but larger. But they were not articulated, but their legs were already bent or their arms were bent. Not the 5 points like you see from Super 7 or from the original Star Wars figures. Ryan says I was collecting Horrible Jack's WWF figures. I don't think I put any of those on here. I put the Hasbro ones on. Jay Astro, not to jump the gun on you, but my vote for the best 90s figures, Spawn series, Movie Maniacs. That's the only stuff I bought consistently in those years, except for some Transformers, Beast Wars later. I don't think I put Beast Wars on here. But I did. I told you I lost a whole bunch of pictures. Beast Wars was one of them. I kind of forgot that Beast Wars came out during this time I was doing it. I had Smurfs, Sheets, and the Transformers. I remember picking up Smurfs at the little kiosk at my mall. Smurfs you can almost always get a Smurf. Your parents would almost always allow you to get a Smurf. All right, so here we have the Toy Biz Marvel superheroes. I know it seems kind of weird, I guess, to break them up. I guess it's weird to kind of break that up in Spider-Man, but again, I'm just kind of grabbing. Toy Lines is wrong. It's just figures, I guess, because some of these you'll find out aren't really figure or aren't really lines. But yeah. Travis says Kyle Peterson is doing a book on Jax. I'll be sure not to read it. I'm sorry, it was right. I'm sorry. I'm sure Kyle Peterson is a wonderful person. Just be nice if you could actually criticize that Andre the Giant face. All right. Let's say hi to David Miller. What's up, punk? Anyway, I still have my cap shield with what is that? Okay, so I had those Spawn on. Now I'd say I'm looking at my original Spawn figure, but I'm not because my 3D printed Skyhawk is in the way. But I have the original Spawn figure. I have the meat. I still have the meat head, the meat face in the packaging. Downstairs, packaging is all beat up. And if you remember those original packaging, not these ones here. The original packaging, it was all encompassed in plastic, and there was no way in hell, no matter what type of utensil or scissors or blade you used, that you were not coming out with just cuts and scrapes and blood splatter all over, because it created a sharper edge than any blade you could have used. And you're trying to rip your hand in and you're trying to pull it open. And if anyone had the Spawn figures, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What is very disappointing about a lot of the McFarlane figures today is he was really, from what I remember, the first company that was doing amazing sculpts. Now, back then, I wasn't looking at articulation or anything like that. Didn't really understand articulation. But what he does now, sometimes it's really good, and other times it's awful. It's horrendous. Usually the Spawn line, I would say, are usually pretty good. Yes, the Todd Toys clamshells. Man, again, it was Woody says, laugh my ass off, punk. I remember the Spawn packages. I got multiple forum cuts trying to open those. Dude, they're the worst. Like, and believe me, they're not the only people that use that. There are other things that use it. Razor blades, for one thing. Like, try and get your damn razor blade out, all right? Like, you're not getting out without your hands being a fucking bloody mess. Where, like, you could go to the fucking hospital and they'd be like, oh, get them right back to surgery right now. You need about 45 stitches. What were you doing? Oh, I was trying to open an action figure. But there was no way to get around it. Like, they're the absolute worst. And again, there's other product, not just toys, that use that. It's just the worst. Like, you can't get scissors to use it properly. You can't get a razor blade. No, and I'll let you guys talk it because I don't remember Exo Squad, so it's not something that I could even discuss. So, the Spawn figures, I thought the Spawn figures were amazing. Violator, there was Violator to get really big. Malbosia, if I remember correctly, I think Malbosia was like the hard one to get. But yeah. I love the Spawn. I thought the Spawn meathead one would actually be worth money. That's why I kept it. It's too bad it's not because I have one. All right. Okay, so Power of the Force. I feel like the funny thing is, like, when I kept looking up toys, these things were not on there. Like, it was hard to actually find this, and I don't understand this. David Miller, yeah, look at that. One per case. Yeah, I remember, and it was big and expensive. I don't remember if I had Malbosia. I remember seeing it. I don't remember if I even pulled the trigger on actually buying it. I know I had Violator. I don't think I had Malbosia, but I had a lot of the figures, and I don't remember if I sold them off in a lot or what. Anyway, Power of the Force. As you know, we're doing May the Power of the Force. We're all going to pick different figures and we're going to review them. It's kind of like what Cobra Convergence is, right? This was all Allison's idea, who I haven't seen here today. But we're going to review the figures. And again, it can be anyone. Just pick a figure. I'm sure people will do multiple figures because, hopefully there's more people that want to do this. I think it's just going to be fun opening up one of these and then doing a review. Just imagine in 95, 96, if you had YouTube doing reviews to talk about the 5 points of articulation, the muscles on the guys. So, these figures, I gotta say, drove me nuts. I was a completist. And when I say I was a completist, I remember getting the Boba Fett with the full circles, the Boba Fett with the half circles, the Boba Fett with the half circles with the .01. There was a Boba Fett .02. There was Boba Fett .00. Then there was the lightsabers, and they changed the lightsabers from long sabers to the short sabers. But the short saber store had the long tray, and then they finally got rid of that, and they had the short tray. There was the two different Luke colors. There was the gray Luke, and then there was the black Luke. I'm talking about his vest. There were so many different ones, and I was on this craze, buying every single one up. The lightsabers were just the killer. And then they switched them over to green cards. So then they were the green cards one. PNC, I had all that trash. And you know what? When I ended up selling them all off, I lost money. And I'm talking about the ones that were still boxed. Yes, Han Solo with blue or brown pants. Hold on. Didn't Power of the Force figures come with clean urine samples so they could pass the steroid drug test? No, that was there was that version, but that wasn't the first version that came. That was the later version, another one they had to go. I think there was the .02. Listen, if anyone remembers the Boba Fett, if anyone was a completist on that, they will remember the nightmare it was, because there was the Boba Fett with a half circle, Boba Fett with the full circle. There was a very rare Boba Fett, I want to say, with the half circle .01. And that was, one of them was really, really, really hard to get. And I remember I had them all. That was the one I paid like $30 for at my comic book store, $35. It was the one that I needed, and I bought it. I think shortly after that, I was just kind of done trying to be a completist on it. The lightsaber trays were an absolute killer. And there were some that didn't have it. There were some, if I remember correctly, that people looked for it, but there was no actual long tray with the short saber. But I can tell you, Vader had it, Luke had it, Obi-Wan had it. So, but these figures restarted everything. These were the ones that were all muscular, they were built, and even back then we made jokes about it. I had way too many of those figures, R2-D2 and Han Collector. Yeah, dude, like we all did. Like it jump-started everything. And Allison has joined us. How much longer you're going? I don't know. At least 21 minutes. But you and I need to get together and start discussing this, because May is coming up pretty quickly, Allison. So we need to discuss May, the Power of the Force, and how we're gonna do this. You know what? I'm gonna say this. If this is what we're talking, if you're talking about this still, I still do have I see them and I'm still like, you know what? They do something for me. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Odin jumps in here. I still have some Power of the Force customs I made in 5th grade. Oh gosh, come on. You better be joining May the Power of the Force with us, right? You have to review some of those. Dude, they were fun. Like they kickstarted Star Wars again. And then here were the green ones with the film slides. And this was when they stopped. This is when they all stopped working out. Their DECA supplier was no longer available. They all had to go natty. And they just weren't as cool when they were no longer jacked up. I still have all of my Power of the Force 2 Leias on my shelf beside me, and I carded one on the wall. Well, you do kind of like Princess Leia. But yeah, again, to me, this is what kicked it off for me. This re-energized everything for me going into collecting again. Or should I say, maybe for the first time, actually collecting. I don't know how I forgot this. One of the reasons why I collect gargoyles is because I collected gargoyles as a kid. Matter of fact, I have the only one that I still have is my Bronx. Again, another line that somewhere along the line I got rid of. I sold it off. I can't imagine that I gave it away. But I love the gargoyles figures. I know when they first came out, Jay from Geek Dead Life, he started collecting these because he said the other ones were just too big. They're not nearly as cool as the NECA ones, and they don't look nearly as good. But I had a lot of these figures, and I really liked them. Again, I kept the Bronx because I thought the Bronx was just so good. But I really do look back at these figures that I was collecting, and I have a big fondness of them because I was all about them. But what's crazy is I don't really remember. I remember buying them, and I remember displaying them, but I don't remember like going out to the store. I think I got them, as I'm talking about it, I'm kind of starting to think. I think Toys R Us is where we got most of them. But yeah, there was a lot of good gargoyles. I think, again, I think this line was really good. I think this was a show that it worked for kids. It worked for teenagers. And then I think it worked for young adults, even to this day. Although I do need to go back and start watching it. My daughter and I had started watching it, but then we get stuck on something else and a different show. So when I met Jonathan Franks, they were pushing his gargoyles picture to get the autograph. That's fun. I mean, that's funny because even though I love the fact that the whole fucking cast, other than Patrick Stewart, were the gargoyle voices. I love that. That's absolutely awesome. Down South says the gargoyle stuff is cool, especially the new ones you're collecting, but I never watched the show. I watched the show. I hardly remember the show. And when I watched, I think Olivia and I watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and God, I didn't even remember it. Gotta throw in some of the G.I. Joes. I'm not a fan of the 90s G.I. Joes. At least not the continuation of the real American hero, but they were there. A lot of a lot of stuff that, let's just say, I don't really want part of my G.I. Joe. I don't need septic hisses, whatever that thing is called. I know some people say, oh, we need that in classified. No, we don't. But to each their own. I'd say you don't have to buy it, but I'm pretty bad. I know I would probably buy it. But there were some G.I. Joes, and there were some good ones. I'm not going to lie. There were some decent ones, but for the most part, I'm just not a big fan. And of course, I know like as the years went by, there was a lot that still were there. So the Gargoyles intro music and monologue is freaking. It's epic. Yeah, dude, it is awesome. Like, that show was really, really cool. So, no, I do not have aliens on here. Again, it was really hard to find stuff. That's why I'm like, I need some of your guys' help, man, for sure. No Pogs. Star Trek. Now, listen, all transparency, I had the whole, I had almost the whole Next Generation from Generations. All right, so I'll answer this here. I really wouldn't want. First, I was a high to profit. I don't know if I've ever seen you here. Here's the whole thing. Every single G.I. Joe character that I thought would be stupid, or that I thought was stupid as a kid, what they've done with Classified, they've made them really cool. So I truly do believe that if they did do Battle Force 2000 classified, they would be pretty damn cool. So I would be perfectly fine with it because I think everything that they're doing, Lenny has his foot on the pulse to find a way to make it really, really good. So, so the Star Trek figures, I had, I believe, almost the whole Generations crew. But if you guys do remember, there was a short run of the 1701 series. And the 1701 series was Tasha Yar, Lieutenant Barclay, and a Picard. Was it Picard or Kirk? I thought it was Picard. Maybe Picard in dress uniform. But there's 1701, which is after the Enterprise. And so Tasha Yar and either... God, someone jump in and someone's got to remember. But when it came time for the third one, that was the Barclay, they had increased production to be 3,000. So they went from 1701 to 3,000. And I remember I'd go to Toys R Us and I got to the point where I could look down the aisle and I could see that there's no Star Wars figures because you could see on the, on the end, which ones were there. So if there was nothing new, I would just move on. And I would always go over to the Star Trek and I would look for these 1701s. And I'm scrolling through them, looking, and I see a Barclay. And I grab it, right? It's like maybe the third or fourth one. I grab it and pull it out. I'm like, holy crap. I look up, there's another one sitting right up there, right on the front. Totally missed it. I grab it, boom, walked away. I take that back. I actually went down the aisle and kind of hid to the side because this is when guys are being complete assholes. They'd start fights over stuff. I saw another guy come up and he started going through them and I backed away, kind of waited till everyone left, and then I went and paid for it. The next week, I go down to that same Star Trek or that same Toys R Us. And there's a kid that I had seen there. And he's been there he's always there with his dad. He's probably about 15. 14, 15 years old, and he was holding a Barclay. And the reason why I looked at it was because the one that I had, they were all numbered on the foot. The one number was over 1701, but the other one that I had was under 1701. So in my mind, even if they would have been only made 1701, I still would have got one. And this kid had it. And I said, hey, do you mind if I look at it? And I'd seen him numerous times, and he was there with his dad. Not that I would steal something like that. And I said, hey, listen, I got 2 of them last week. I just want to see what the number is. Because, they're 6, for 3,000. And I looked at it, and that one was actually a higher number than the 2 that I had gotten. And I was like, thanks, man. I just wanted to look, And again, I wasn't one of those people that was ever going to steal from a kid. Like, you got to be a piece of shit. You're actually one step worse than figure swappers there. So anyway, I really like these figures. You can probably get them for like $2 now. All right. So I had to throw the turtles on here. I don't know what turtle this is. As I told you before, I did not collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know very little about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles other than the video game, what the 4 are, what their weapons are, Master Splinter, different things like that. I don't really remember too much. But I know the Turtles were huge. And they were huge at the end of the 80s. They were huge through the 90s and the 2000s. And they're still going pretty damn strong. So I threw these in here. Not really sure what you guys think of this. I guess it's Ralph. Yeah. I gotta say that this might not be the best turtle that I could have grabbed. Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just realizing how bad this one actually is. It almost looked like it's a fucking knockoff of a turtle. I don't remember which ones were in the late 80s. And this is one that came up, but good lord. This thing is bad. Oh. The sculptors were on drugs. Oh my god. Wow. That is anyway. I don't even know how I didn't realize how bad this. In all honesty, like the picture that I'm looking at here is smaller than when I'm doing the slides. But I didn't realize this thing could give kids nightmares. Wow. Yeah. So anyway, well, the originals were what, 88, 89. So by 90s they'd gotten pretty wacky. Yeah, and that's what was kind of weird. Like I was seeing some kind of wacky looking ones. But again, it says those movie figures are in Walmart now. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at that now. I guess those are bullet holes. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Wow. Oh, that turtle looks like it was designed by a former Hasbro designer. Anyway, we're going to stop looking at this hideous turtle because, oh my god, it's scaring the shit out of me. All right, so I don't remember when the wrestling figures changed. So I believe these were the early 90s. I do remember these figures. I kind of completely forgot about the Jakks figures. So I apologize to Ryan and Travis and to the other guy that isn't here, probably has no idea who I am, Peterson. But I kind of forgot about Jakks, and I've also discussed numerous times about that ring and everything. That was the early 2000s. No, that would have been late 90s, 2000s. So I know that those figures were. I remember having. God, yeah, it must have been. Yeah, there must have been a lot of 91s. The ones where they were like army figures. The Rock was an army figure. Austin was. I had Ahmed Johnson. I believe there was an Owen Hart. Yeah, there's a lot of wrestling figures. God, these are so bad. And these things are weapons too, because they're like super hard plastic. Yeah, we were talking about that, but it just totally, I totally blanked on it. Because I couldn't remember. I remember them. I remember that they were very popular in the early 2000s. Like I said, I don't remember that whole like a lot of 90s. I don't remember like figure wise. I remember the 90s because it's not like I was doing drugs or anything. Yeah. As Matthew says, and that's how good his memory is. Believe me. All right, you guys talk amongst yourself. I have to go do something really quick. All right, and that is why I need a second commercial, Ted, so I can take different breaks. Uh, anyway, I left you up with the Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, I think, long enough. Yeah, there was a lot of different wrestling figures, and the Jacks were the ones I kind of forgotten. But again, like so much of the stuff kind of runs together. I remember the 80s and what toys there were. All right, so yeah. Oh, and damn, Ted, you're actually still listening. I already played your commercial. That's why I didn't play it again. Okay. I told you when I started looking up toys of the 90s, there weren't a lot of action figures that showed up. It was hard to find action figure toys. I was like 90s action figures, 90 boys toys, like just nothing. But this came up, and I believe more grandmothers collected the Beanie Babies, but I guess in actuality, these were a toy for kids. And I'm willing to bet that every single person here at one time or another has had a Beanie Baby. Whether it was something that they picked up because it was a dog that looked like their dog, or they liked squirrels, different things like that. There's a lot that can be said about Beanie Babies, but the power of the Beanie Baby was real. I think it dwarfed the whole Cabbage Patch hysteria in the 80s. My ex, not my kid's mother, but my ex before her mom worked at a Hallmark, and holy crap, let me tell you about the amount of Beanie Babies she had. But they were always being sold, so I had to put the Beanie Babies in here. I knew it wouldn't be a big seller here, considering I know the crowd that I'm talking to. So Prophet says, "Oh yeah, I got one for my grandma for Christmas." Exactly. And if you saw one that looked like your dog or a cat, that you had or that you have, you were gonna get it. Or if you told that you love groundhogs, you were gonna get a groundhog. But yeah. And the thing was, these things were, so many people bought these. They were expensive, and then the bottom dropped out like Funko Pops. So this is the one I saw, and it kind of, I didn't think about it. It popped up at like number 1. And when I posted my story, Random Diorama, this was like the first thing that he sent me. He's like, I know it probably doesn't fit, it's not really action figures, but Super Soakers were huge. And I would have never thought of Super Soakers, but it definitely was a toy. It changed the landscape of playing with guns. Because if you remember, really the only good squirt guns that ever really worked were Enertech. And those shot 30 feet. And they meant 30 feet if you're shooting up. You had the really high, the high-powered M16. You were shooting into the wind and down a hill. You could get 30 feet out of it. But the Super Soakers, there were no batteries. So they weren't as cool as Enertech. You didn't have an extra magazine that you could run around with. Of course, they only held so much. The Super Soakers, they filled up super quickly. You threw it on there, and they came out with so many different ones. Again, this changed the landscape. And again, I was already done playing with toys, but we all know a lot of people use Super Soakers. as teenagers for other things. Kiwi, I think at some point we all had like this gun. Like I swear, like this is. I mean, would everyone kind of agree? Like this is the gun you think of when you think of Super Soaker. The big bottle on the top, and yeah, they were just they were a lot of fun. But I would not have even thought of Super Soaker. Again, random diorama. He thought of it right away, and he sent it over to me, and I'm like. And again, I lost all these pictures. I don't know where I saved them to. I would not have thought of this one. Even though Lenny and I specifically talked about Furby because he worked on the Furby line for a short bit. I think Furby, even to this day, still creeps me out. It is a creepy looking creature that they created. I would not have known that it was in the 90s when it came out. But this comes up at like number 2 or 3, like on every list of toys of the 90s. It turns out, see how fuck those creepy things. They're just creepy. And you know what? They're supposed to be like lovable. They're soft and fluffy, but you're looking at that thing and you're like, dude, that thing scares the hell out of me. David Bruce says, I didn't buy any toys in the 90s except the useless wooden kind, but I remember my youngest sister had a line of Jurassic Park figures. I remember them being really impressive. And that's what I'm saying. Like when I started looking up 90s toys, I thought like things would kind of come flooding to me. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I just, other than Power of the Force, which I knew, the Playmates, Star Trek, and Spawn. Woody says, my twin sister had these creepy Furby things, and we used to share a room, and they would go up all the time and scare the crap out of me. See, I don't even remember what they did. I just remember them, and the name is hard to forget. The Furby, like it is hard to forget. They're Furbies, creepy gizmo gremlin looking things. At least like you knew the gremlin was a creepy one, and you knew that the Mogwai was, the nice cute one, Matthew. These ones, wait a minute, you're supposed to be cute, and oh my god, you're scary. At least I know the gremlin is there to scare the shit out of me, right? I love these. I'm sure my girls will too. Exactly. So, I totally forgot about starting lineup figures. That is a really good call. I totally forgot about starting lineup figures. Those were so huge. And again, I think they did it right. They were little mini statues. Barry Sanders, Steve Eiserman. I had Dennis Rodman. I want to say the Pistons. I think it was Pistons. I don't think Rodman was the Bull, but he might have been. I don't know. Cobb says I had Gizmo Furby. Actually, love that thing. All right, we'll see. Yes, Lieutenant Barkley, aka Murdoch. Yes. That is one of the few figures that I sold for a huge profit later on when I had to get rid of it. I think I sold one in, God, it would have been the early 2000s. I want to say I sold one for like 90 and the other one for like 130. I kind of want to look and see what they're worth now, but then I kind of don't, because if they're worth more, then I'd be really... Anyway. Tickle Me Elmo. And this is not a line. This figure, this toy, it dwarfed everything. Like that Christmas, these things were crazy. Now, I have a story. The skate shop that I was working at, the lady that owned it, she was an older lady. Her sons owned a racing store, Magic Racing, and no, it was not. No, it was it was the 90s. And so I worked for this lady. The only reason why she kept the skate shop is because her sons gave it to her, and then she kept it open for us kids for the most part, So she had grandkids, and grandkid wanted to tickle me Elmo, and I remember telling me she's like, I can't. She's like, I can't. She goes, I can't find it. It's impossible to find it. I'm like, I'll get you one. Sure enough, that weekend I go out, and the one firefighter who was a Hot Wheel collector, he was like, yeah, Toys R Us has the Tickle Me Elmos, but they're only doing like one, one per person. Like, I just need one, right? So sure enough, we went there. You kind of had to get there early, and then you had to ask. And sure enough, they brought one out, and I gave it to her, and she's like, "How did you get this?" And I was like, "I told you, I can get anything I need." There was a time when I pretty much could find almost anything I ever wanted or that I was looking for. I walked in, hey, look, Nintendo 64, when you couldn't find them, just sitting at Meijer. Boom, bought it, done. And I gave it to her. She's like, how much do you want? I'm like, I don't know, like $30 or something. Now, the firefighter, he made a huge profit. And again, this is, I want to say eBay maybe had started, but I didn't have internet and anything like that. He's like, I made like $300 or $400. I'm like, how did you do that? He goes, I went up on Saturday. This is genius. I went up Saturday to the bowling alley where I knew it would be packed with a bunch of parents. And I asked them if it was okay if I sold raffle tickets. And I forget how much he said he sold the raffle tickets for. But again, if you get 400 people or 400 tickets sold, only one can be, but people are willing to spend like, oh shit, I can't find that. I'll spend $5 on raffle tickets for this. And I think he made like $300 or $400 at the bowling alley doing this. And I was like, I just remember like, damn it, why didn't I do that? I thought it was just a genius idea, man. But yeah, so the Tickle Me Elmo, which if you've ever messed with the Tickle Me Elmo, the thing does not shut up. Like, you cannot get the damn thing to shut up. That thing was going to go off and off and off. So every parent that did get one, the Tickle Me Elmo, if there was anything that could be close to Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way, this is what it was. And that's it. That's all the figures or toy lines that I could really conjure up. Are there any that you guys can think of? Yeah, dude. And again, I want to say, if eBay had started and it was just starting, right? I didn't have internet. We didn't I remember we didn't have internet for quite some time. So we didn't have a computer or internet or anything like that. And I just remember thinking, like, that is awesome because you're not ripping anyone off. You're saying, hey, listen, I have this one Tickle Me Elmo, and it was around Christmas time. Everyone wants it. I'm selling raffle tickets. And I think he knew the owner or someone who worked at the bowling alley. So, he just, oh my gosh. Yes. But so he did it, and I just remember thinking like that was genius. He might have even made more money. I don't remember. I remember him telling me, but again, we're talking almost 30 years ago. Trolls. Oh my god, that was another creepy thing. And my girlfriend before the ex, before the baby's mama, her brother was married to a girl, and she's like, she looks like a troll. And I'm like, whatever. I thought she was just being mean. And then I met her, and I'm like, oh my god, she looks like a troll. And she was like, I told you. She was short. She had that frizzy hair. and she was one of the dumbest people I've ever met. Listen, this was my ex's, not my kid's mother, but my ex's brother's ex-wife. I remember my ex was like, yeah, so they had to borrow all this money from my parents because, there were times when times were tough for them. She was so stupid. She wrote checks that she knows she didn't have money for it, and sent them out to like utilities and everything, credit cards, and she truly did not. She thought, well, if I sent you a check, they won't cash it till there's money. She didn't understand when all these checks bounced and got all these late fees. That's not how they do it. That's not how checks work. They don't call you and say, hey, I got your check. Do you have money in your account? Okay, so was Robotech in? See, I don't remember Exo Squad. Was Robotech in the 90s? I don't remember that. And Muscles, I thought Muscles were the 80s. The little pink Muscles, I thought those were the 80s. And I could be completely wrong because, again, I know that they were in the 80s. Maybe they went through there. The other one was Stretch Armstrong. Again, I have pictures. I don't know where I sent them to. So I sent them somewhere else. Stretch Armstrong. I thought Stretch Armstrong was, I thought that was 80s, but it was on a lot of lists. So Stretch Armstrong was definitely the 90s. Didn't realize that. Would not have put that one with it. So Dick Tracy. I've never seen Dick Tracy. Wasn't a fan of it. But that was I do remember seeing all those figures. Captain Planet. Oh, that's a creepy laugh, Liv. You are laughing, right, Liv? Sorry. My daughter's laughing, and it's just a creepy laugh that I hear coming from her room. Wasn't Captain Planet in the 80s? I could be completely wrong, and I do apologize. Okay, I don't. Facebook user, thank you for watching. That's why I said I wish it would give us a name. I don't even remember Shark Attack. Toxic Crusaders. I remember, but I thought that was 80s too. Mr. Wonderful says Captain Planet was early 90s. Okay. Wow, I forgot Cops figures. What a concept. Now, Down South is saying that was 88, but still, they made Cops figures. Earthworm Jim had fun figures. I remember Earthworm Jim, but I don't remember when they were or why anyone would buy them because they were pretty stupid looking. Wait, USA Up All Night. All right. Well, those were in TV series, but now I definitely remember USA Up All Night. Silk Stockings. All right, that's all I have to say. If you remember Silk Stockings, then you remember USA. Cops was written by Larry Hama. Really? Woo! Yes. Well, it looks like we hit a nerve there, or hit a button, I guess. Anyway, well, I don't know if I was going to make it 3 hours, and we went well over 3 hours. But I'm going to get going. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. It's interesting. Like I said, the 90s thing really got me. I thought it was gonna be easier. I thought like, oh my god, like things were gonna like kind of just show up and I'm gonna remember this. But I just I hit the random button. Oh my gosh. Yes, So Stockings was a hell of a TV show. But yeah, I thought the 90s, I thought more stuff would kind of hit me. But it didn't. And that's when you realize like, yeah, I was skateboarding and I may have found another thing to occupy myself at night with a girlfriend. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys all for joining. Again, this Thursday, we are supposed to be talking about. You know what? Oh, hold on. Jamie, you are absolutely right. Power Rangers toys were some of the ugliest toys I'd seen since the Power Rangers place Voltron. I had Power Rangers. Again, that was another figure line that I had that I misplaced. I actually thought I put them up there. And I have to say, you are absolutely correct. Those figures were, oh my god, they creeped me out. I guess that's the best way to say it. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. Thank you guys all very much for joining. Every single one of you. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't. Hit the subscribe button, please. We're trying to get to 4,000. And since there's no toys and no reviews, it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you haven't hit subscribe, there's no reason not to. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. We will see you guys all this Thursday to talk Predator. I'll have it done. Take care.